This is Nathan Explosion from Death Clock, and I just wanted to tell you guys about an event coming up in here pretty soon, March 23rd. Fun for Funds. It's a Journey into Comics network event.
Oh yeah, and it's featuring lame pet kids from Brews with Dudes, and Podcastrophe, and Dungeons with Dudes, and Journey into Comics. With performances by those jackasses in band number 1. Also, Boner Shelby, Walk Among Us, and Yesterday's Chips.
I do not want to say the things about the comedians, the big Santa Claus's comedians, them's Patrick's Mercies. It's the live stand-ups guys that will be there at the North in pubs on March 23rd.
Dr. Roxo, the rock and roll clown, baby. Here to tell you one last thing, man. You might have forgot about it, but doors are open in the 3. We're gonna have podcasts at 4. You're gonna pay $10, baby, and it's 21 and up. That's a fact, Jack. Check it out.
The following
Journey into Comics.
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 Journey into Comics. Network. Production.
We're gonna fuck the sodomites in the
Warning. Podcastrophe imminent. This is Podcastrophe with Dick and Tyler. And Matt. Coming at you with a fistful of heritage on a podcast where anything goes and there are no safe spaces. This is Podcastrophe.
Hello and welcome to Podcastrophe episode 80. I'm your host, Dick, and with me, of course, is Tyler.
I'm back and alive.
He's back. It's been, 2 weeks?
2 weeks.
It's been 2 weeks. Your beard is a lot more full now. Makes me happy.
Yes.
You returned from your press tour.
My press tour. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Since you've been on our show, you've been on Journey into Comics twice and Game Addicts Podcast.
And I was almost on Poor Report, or the Poor 360. Almost.
Damn. You've been a busy boy.
I needed, I was thinking about this on my way over here because I stopped and got a care package for myself of cherry vanilla Pepsi, a giant bag of Funyuns that I ate the whole bag on the way over here.
Hell yeah.
Original recipe Butterfinger, because I don't fuck with that new recipe. It is nasty. I would lick...
Just nasty.
I would lick your asshole before I fucking put another one of those new recipe Butterfingers in my mouth.
You heard it here, folks.
Now, here's the thing. Because
Welcome, Branden.
Hi, how you doing, guys? It's been the first time I've been on since episode 50.
Yeah.
It's been a minute, a little minute, but all right. So I thought about this, and specifically about you.
Okay.
In some ways, you remind me of George Carlin.
Okay.
Because I remember him saying that he didn't have pet peeves. He has severe psychotic fucking hatreds.
Yes. Yes. That is me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? When things you're pretty easygoing about most things, but when there's something that really upsets you, it literally just goes from here to 11.11 for you.
Yeah. If something is on my radar, it is either very beneficial to myself or people I love, or just, society. But if it's not that, it is a bad thing. And it is DEFCON 5. I'm calling in the Marines. I'm dropping nukes on people. I'm pissed off about it.
Yeah.
You're sending smoke signals to get the other tribes to rally.
Yes, I'm powwowing. I'm having the moot with the Ents. We're going to fucking take down Isengard because, Saruman's cutting down the trees. Got lots of problems with shit. And the new and updated, improved recipe for Butterfingers is fucking one of them. It is nasty. I want to add to that a little bit before I'm done ranting about my care package.
Hold on, this is great because you didn't even bring it up. We had been planning to bring this up just to get you
The
irate.
Butterfingers?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We were planning to trigger the fuck out of you.
and
you did it yourself.
I spent 8 minutes in the gas station. I timed it. 8 minutes looking for original recipe Butterfingers. Okay?
Scouring the place.
I dug through that rack of candy. I wanted
I'm
a
surprised you didn't
Butterfinger.
stock up north, because didn't you talk about it on JIC?
Well, I did. I happened to stop at a gas station when I left Pod HQ, and all they had was new and improved recipe Butterfingers.
Oh.
So, anyway, so we took Ruby to see how to Train Your Dragon, the new one.
Enjoy it.
Opening weekend. It was great. Not as good as the second one, but still fantastic way to end the story. So my dad, it was while my dad was in town. My dad and I are standing in line. Skylar and Ruby went to get our seats. And I'm like, yeah, I want some fucking popcorn because I fuck with popcorn real hard.
Yeah,
And I was like, I gotta get some fucking Mountain Dew because I fuck with Mountain Dew. And then I was like, you know what? Nate told me that they changed the recipe for Butterfinger. I need a fucking Butterfinger right now. So I said, hey, give me some of them Butterfinger snack bites. Didn't even look at the box.
Oh, no.
Didn't look at the box.
Oh, no.
I sit down in my seat, inhale my large popcorn by myself like I always do.
Yeah.
And
I've bear witnessed.
you've witnessed.
I have to.
I grabbed that box of Butterfinger snack bites off my little chair tray. And as I'm opening it, I grab one, put it in my mouth. And right as soon as my taste buds register that, hey, there's a Butterfinger in your mouth, my wife leans over and goes, they're the new recipe. And I hadn't even chewed them up yet. I hadn't even chewed it up yet. I looked down at the box, and in bold fucking red, blasphemous letters, it says new and improved. And it's not. It's nasty. So I thought, okay, I'll chew it, I'll eat it, I'll even swallow it. And I'll try another one to see if number 2 is better than number 1. Nope, it was worse.
I need to try this.
I have.
Yeah?
I tried it just last week.
It's not as good, is it?
It is not as good. I didn't hate it, but however, I would be disinclined to buy another one. That is like the nicest way that I can ever say something is terrible.
Okay, so you guys remember let's go back to 1997. We were all alive in 1997. We were all cognited, or what's the word I want to use? We were all aware, self-aware in 1997. Mm-hmm. You guys remember Butterfinger BBs?
Absolutely.
Remember how fucking delicious they were? Bart Simpson and those fucking peanut butter those peanut butter orbs of deliciousness and joy.
So you're reminding me of the commercial.
Oh yeah.
Which made me think of the old Cheez-It commercials.
Oh yeah.
Or what it was Cheez-It or
wasn't it the are you talking
the
about
Ritz?
Yeah.
The Ritz peanut butter. Mm-hmm. Oh, those were just like the most satisfying like textures happening.
Oh, yeah.
It's like you
and
watch
the cheese ones were even better.
Yeah, it's like watching an ASMR video back in the 90s.
So, you guys remember like how important Butterfinger BBs were to us? I wasn't even a big candy guy back then.
I've never been a Butterfinger guy, so.
Well, hold on. But so this applies to Reese's cups too.
Oh no.
Because Reese's changed their packaging about 3 years ago, and now the Reese's cups don't taste the same.
I just saw they have new Reese's Thins, which is not like, and they charge the same amount as like a regular, so now they can get away for like giving you less.
Mm-hmm. So just really dive into your nostalgia and remember how delicious Butterfinger BBs were. They took those away from us. The next Butterfinger thing that we got, like 6 or 7 years ago, was the Butterfinger cups.
Yeah.
Their attempt at copying the Reese's cup, they are also nasty.
I didn't care for them.
They are not very good. So here we are, 2019. Butterfinger is still doing its thing. It is cornflake, peanut butter flavored cornflakes covered in chocolate. That's a Butterfinger. The inside of a Butterfinger is cornflakes. And it's just like, you know what? I think I'm going to fuck all this up. We've been around for a long time. You know what? Let's just change it. A Butterfinger now tastes like you didn't used to like butter. You didn't like Butterfinger before.
Watch, he's gonna be the one that likes it.
Okay. So
See, it's not that I didn't like Butterfinger. It's just not my favorite.
Okay.
It's like a fucking Kit Kat. It's not my fucking favorite.
Your opinion of a Butterfinger before. Now let me just throw this at you. Take that flavor, remove all of it, replace it with waxy texture. A Whopper from five Halloweens ago.
I almost thought you were gonna say 5 Holocausts ago.
Okay.
I was going Whopper from fucking Burger King. But I was like, okay, this is weird.
5 Halloweens old Whopper. Okay.
Okay.
And a half-eaten.
Can I still think about a Burger King Whopper?
Sure.
Okay.
A half-eaten Crunch Bar.
The peanut butter in the new recipe reminds me of the peanut butter in the whatchamacallit bar.
Yeah.
That kind of resonated with me. I would think different if I had them side by side.
The malt flavor was so strong in the little snack bites that I had that I couldn't taste any of the peanut butter at all.
Nate says they took away the stuff that made them unhealthy, to which I say, bullshit. If it's already a candy bar.
Right.
Stop trying to make candy bars more healthy for the masses. We already know what we're doing to ourselves.
Yeah, we are consenting to what's happening.
Exactly.
My freedom of consent has been removed.
They changed cereal a long time ago too. Like either that or it's just like Trix. Like Trix are for kids, and we just don't. We're adults now.
Yeah, we're adults, and we can't. See
So
Made no
maybe
effect.
not only did they change the shape of it, or maybe we don't see the shape of it, and we also don't taste it the same.
we can't.
Trix
we can't
does
see
not
what-
taste the same
It
as it did when
doesn't.
I was
We
a
can't
kid.
see why kids love Cinnamon Toast Crunch anymore.
Cocoa Puffs and Reese's Puffs don't taste the same. They don't taste the same.
When they brought back Oreo O's, they're a little bit different too.
Did
And
you
Count
guys-
Chocula,
Yeah.
that really pissed me off.
I was a big fan of Boo Berry. They fucked up Boo Berry too.
For the longest time, it took me a long time to realize it, and it was just one of those thoughts in my head that I just mulled around every time I thought about it. It's weird to say, but I was like, I haven't seen Count Chocula in a while. and then Halloween happens, and it's on the shelves. I'm like, when the hell did they start doing it only on Halloween?
Right.
I guess they've been doing it for a while, only on Halloween. So I went and bought 6 boxes of it, only to find
That it
they
was
changed
nasty?
the fucking recipe.
Yeah.
So
Did you guys eat the French toast crunch in the 90s?
Yes.
Do you remember how delicious it was? It's not delicious anymore.
It's not the same.
It tastes like the cardboard. That's what it tastes like. There's hardly any cinnamon.
some would argue that tastes like Monocle's pizza.
And those people are uneducated and they are swine.
You know what? Domino's used to taste like the cardboard, and then they fixed their dough.
Yep.
The rest of it's not so great.
I've actually always liked Domino's, even before and after they
Well, okay.
changed.
See, because here's the thing, I'm a junk food eating monster.
You are.
and can eat anything.
You are like a connoisseur of junk food because you're always bringing in different flavors of Mountain Dew and chips,
right.
while still eating healthy food that you made at home.
Sure. Well, and the thing is that I'm fascinated by new drinks, new things, and
Yeah.
and of course they're always going to change it and take all the good things away from us. But I can't say that one of the few things that they ever brought back that tastes exactly as I remember it was High C Ecto Cooler.
Oh yeah, yeah.
See, I didn't get to try it when they brought it back.
They brought it back a few years ago for the Ghostbusters sequel that they did. And the best thing about them doing a new Ghostbusters sequel is the fact that they brought back High C Ecto Cooler, and we ordered the crap out of it, and then we found it at our local ruler, and we just stockpiled it until it was all gone. And then I am this guy. Just like when I had my very last Mountain Dew Supernova, I drank the last High C Ecto Cooler in a champagne glass.
Did you have Surge in the 90s?
Yes.
Does new Surge taste the same as old Surge? Because I never had Surge in the 90s.
It's pretty darn close.
I've only had it in
the newer.
in the modern era.
And see, okay, So there's also another thing that's going on around here with all of these things coming back and all of these of them changing things, or like even things because our taste buds change as we grow.
Every 5 years, your taste buds completely dissolve and regrow.
So like I never ever liked or wanted to have anything to do with sushi, and all of a sudden it's like, fine, I'll try it, and I'm like,
fuck with that.
What? And it was the same thing with like sauerkraut or anything like that. Mm-hmm. As a kid, get that shit away from me. And then I hey, like, curiosity. Here I am, 25, 30 years old, taking a nibble, and I'm like, do I want to go home and make sauerkraut? And my wife is like, no, you will not stink up my house. And I'm like,
that fermented cabbage is delicious.
But what if I like it
That's fair.
now? And it's the same thing. Surge to me tastes pretty damn close. It doesn't have. I mean, maybe it's because we're not kids. Also, it doesn't give that same rush of having a whole night's full of energy off of one beverage. However, shortly after I moved to Indiana, this is like 2007, I found an original Jolt Cola.
What?
It was at a Big Lots. It was probably 20 years old. It was in a 24-ounce bottle, and I bought one. It was a Sunday. It was a Sunday before going back to work from my very first shutdown. And I remember drinking this thing, not having ever tried any sort of narcotic other than alcohol. There are some uppers in that damn thing. I have never felt that sort of caffeine sugar rush high off of a single beverage ever. It was awesome and scary at the same time. I was trying to put together a fan that I bought at Big Lots also.
I like how you're saying beverage.
And I was bouncing off the walls. I might have said, like, I was saying some crazy shit. I was like cloud 9.
Was there peyote in it?
There may have been. I don't know.
If there was, I want some.
And
I'll order a slat of that shit right now.
And then, of course, they brought it back later on as like a different beverage. It's not the same. This was like original Jolt Cola. And, everybody from back in the 80s, like, you don't know shit. You like Surge ain't shit next to Jolt Cola, and I will attest because that shit. I remember tackling my girlfriend, who would become my wife, onto the bed, staring deeply into her eyes and telling her that I was her Salisbury steak sauce. I'm not sure why that got brought up.
Get my little book out.
Yeah, write that down.
Sauce.
Anyway, speaking of bringing, always having new things, I did bring stuff for us to try.
Awesome.
So
Let's get it out. Let's see this.
So while he's getting prepped there, I'm obviously not Brandon's level of junk food connoisseur.
Yeah.
But I also love it because I almost bought one of those when I bought this.
Orange vanilla Coke.
It's supposed to taste like a dreamsicle.
Kind of does. I've had the zero variety. I have not tried the original. I bought one for each of us to try.
Oh, thank you.
And so, I mean, I know that there's a show on the network called Brews with Dudes. This is more like Cokes with Blokes.
Ooh.
Cokes with blokes.
I like it. But every time, I don't eat very much.
Oh, that's not it.
I try and, eat somewhat health conscious.
Hold on, let's do what Nick does.
Hold on, right here. Oh, I thought we were going to do it in tandem.
I'll do it too. Let's have a chain of them. Oh, yeah. Oh.
But every time I see something that I love...
Smell it like it's a beer, too.
You can kind of smell it already.
What a pleasant aroma. Yeah, I do.
Let's see how the mouthfeel is.
Yes, canned carbon.
Very acidic. Kind of flat. But very delicious as far as the dreamsicle goes.
Yeah, I'm getting dreamsicle. For sure.
Mm-hmm.
For
and
sure.
see, it's like... I feel like it's a bit light and it doesn't overpower the fact that it's still Coke.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's still enough Coke in there within its fabric and makeup to tell you that this is in fact a Coke. And the flavor is just right there kicking in the background. You smell it, it hits you, and then you're like Coke, and then it kind of comes back in with the aftertaste of dreamsicle.
There's a soda. There's a type of soda that's sold in Europe. It's a German soda. It's called Mezzo Mix. It is orange soda and cola blended and then packaged. And it is one of the greatest things that I've ever consumed in my life. what I was saying was from the junk food perspective, much like when I when I get fired up about stuff like that, I'll see something that I have to have, and then I'll look at it, and then in the back of my mind I'll hear, "Treat yourself."
By all means, from me to you, treat yourself.
My man, I'm gonna eat this one right now.
What you get there?
It's a Butterfinger.
The original OG.
I wish we had a new one so I could compare.
Yeah, right. I bought that a few weeks ago, right when they were coming out, and I was like, Meyer had their like super junk food. What's up?
Hey, Miranda, go get me a Butterfinger. Don't actually go get me a Butterfinger. That's okay.
That would be like she would then be considered super producer.
She would. I mean, she's already gone to Dog and Suds, waited for half an hour in line to bring it back here for us all to enjoy.
Yeah. What's happening to Tyler right now is that he is in an oral orgasmic bliss.
Break it down.
He's got some of the cornflakes, the matted, brittle cornflakes stuck to his teeth right now. Mm-hmm. And that's going to keep the flavor, hanging around just a little bit. Mm-hmm. For when after the candy bar is done, he can sit there, rub his tongue right across that crust that's laying on top of his teeth, and he's like, I'll never experience this again.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much, Brandon, for spoiling me like you always do.
Well, okay, so here's the thing. My intention was to trigger you, and then to offer a peace offering at the end, because I didn't want you to leave today. I mean, I didn't expect to lead with it. I figured we would kind of like build up into it. But
he did it himself.
Yeah, I know. He's just like, damn it, no.
He triggered himself
right out of the gate. We are covering this right away.
You don't even need the peace offering. He did it to himself.
I know.
But I'm glad you did.
All my way here, all
too.
the way back to the beginning of this conversation, I am a hungry boy today. I ate lunch at my normal time, and pretty much since I finished lunch, I've been hungry all day. So on the way here, I was like, you know what? I'm going to stop and get a care package. In the last month, in good conscience, I can honestly say I have consumed 5,000 calories worth of Funyuns in the last 4 weeks. Funyuns didn't used to be my favorite, but it is hands down my favorite salty carb. I'll take one of them too.
What's that?
It's a payday.
The payday?
Mm-hmm.
It's not the kind of paydays I've ever seen.
It's a good one.
I'm too afraid to get another pineapple milkshake out because they've been nothing but carbonation.
They've been exploding again.
It's almost like the cookies and cream nuggets.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's bad, which sucks because I still have a 4-pack and 1 can left.
But mentally, my mental health has been struggling here lately because I've been under a lot more stress than I have been in the last year and a half.
I feel you with that, man.
And the time that I spent at Subaru, that was all like heal time from all the trauma that I had experienced before that. Mentally, I finally got right, and I did it without medication. And now I'm back to being stressed out again. And I'm just about to the point where I've got enough. I've had a lot of pride in the fact that I've been able to heal my mind, or at least I thought heal my mind, without medication. I'm to the point now where, much like pride in the workplace, pride doesn't make you any money. Pride doesn't keep you alive.
Yeah.
So, I think I'm gonna treat myself to some delicious medication.
Well, definitely, dude. I mean, you gotta take care of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Let's try.
Sure, I'll give it a try.
This is the ugly gamer sweater from 450 North.
I think I remember you post a picture of this.
This Butterfinger's so fucking good.
But it's also very. It shows a lot of growth that you're able to recognize it in general. You know what I mean? That you know your mind, you know your body enough to know that something's not right, and to do whatever you need to do to take care of it. That shows that you've been there, you've conquered it, and now this is just it's more. And and I've been there too. Sometimes it could take a little bit for me to really notice it. It all depends on how busy I am.
Right.
and like into my day to day, and it's one of those things where it could just kind of hit you, right when you don't want it to.
I've noticed that with you.
You know,
you have a tendency to go headlong into things and like that you're passionate about, and so you'll be focused on that. You'll be going hardcore at it, and then out of nowhere, you'll just be like, I'm not doing it.
For me, I think it becomes, to use a term from like from some Bethesda games, I get over encumbered.
Yeah,
And it's almost like I don't really realize I'm doing it to myself until I'm already well that far into it.
Right.
picked up way too many apples and pans.
Exactly.
Scrolls.
God, I need that Abraxo cleaner.
I
I need that Wonder Glue!
you find yourself carrying way too much, and whether that affects, your work, your personal life, my goal is always let those things never get affected. Mm-hmm. No matter what's going on, let's keep those, and always try to be the best husband, best dad that I can be. Try and go to work and not fail enough at work. I think I've worked in my position long enough that I can know when I'm doing a bad job. So I'm not saying that I coast, but I'm saying that I have coasted before, but just like doing good enough. But again, like if I was brand new in the area, I couldn't do that. Our work is a lot. It's
very involved.
It's very involved, very intricate. It's very precise.
Yeah.
And so therefore it's like the more that you get good at, the more that you can do that. But for me here recently, I would probably say since November, I've been down, and I can't tell you exactly why. I can't tell you what triggered anything. Whether or not whether I'm experiencing the winter blues for the first time, I don't know.
That's a big part of it for me in the wintertime when I don't. And I've had so many shit doctors in my life. I can't tell you whether or not I'm vitamin D deficient, but I can tell you, in my opinion, I'm almost certain that I am happier when I have a lot of exposure to sunlight. I am not as happy or not as mentally sound when I am stuck inside all the time. As much as I love to sit and play video games for 12 to 18 hours straight, during the summertime, I'll binge play video games and then go outside and mow my yard. Mm-hmm. Something I hate doing. I hate fucking mowing the grass, but I think that exposure to sunlight has a big effect on my mental state.
Well, and to that, with the whole sunlight thing, that can explain a lot. During my second shift years, I would have pretty big swings, like in the wintertime. If we had sometimes by the time we get to work, it would be sunlight for just an hour.
Right.
And then I would go home. By the time I went to bed, the sun wouldn't even be up again. Mm-hmm. So it's just one of those things where, like, in the wintertime, you never saw the sun.
Yeah, I struggled with it in high school, too. I would get to school in the dark, and then I would get home in the dark. And then you're just, there's a lot of research on the people that live in Alaska and experience, pure darkness or pure light, almost. And
for almost 3 months?
Yeah.
Out of the year?
Yeah. And it's not good for your brain.
No. Well, no, because you can really, really drive yourself nuts. Mm-hmm. And, like circling back to what you said, saying that you're going to, go through and, try and find something to help you, whether it's something you've tried before, or just go, have a talk. I mean, just opening up that dialogue would be a great thing to get yourself right on the right track. And, especially right now, I mean, you're going through a lot, and you're making moves to really solidify your career in your family. And I mean, these are important times.
Well, and part of the reason I brought this up is, as prideful as a person as you want to be, or as stubborn as a person as you want to be, there's no shame in saying, you know what, I need to go, I need some help.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because for years, or, for the last couple years, I said, I'm not going to use medication as a crutch. I'm going to fix my fucking brain. And if I can't, then I can't, but I'm going to try to do it.
Yeah.
But, asking for help doesn't make you any less of a human being.
Yeah. I mean, years ago, so I was in the band Drench, and I actually sought help. I sought medical help because I thought I had like severe, like not severe, but mild anxiety, and that was stunting my creative ability and my ability to perform in the band. So I was like, I need something for medication wise for my anxiety. So what can you do? And they're like, anything we're going to do is just going to numb you, and I don't think you want that for what you're doing. I was like, okay. So that was a bummer. And then I just realized maybe this isn't right for me. Maybe this band isn't right for me, because I got tired of holding them back. So I left, and then I focused on the production side of music rather than the writing side. And that really sparked me. And suddenly I was feeling tons better. And then now I have this podcast because of all that. And so when I essentially put music completely on the back burner for this podcast, and that once again just sparked me. So I think like when you know something's wrong and when you make that change in your life, it can really help.
Sometimes for me, when it's almost like what happened to me last year. And pretty much I got told, you're spreading yourself too thin. And of course me, I'm like, I'm fine. What the fuck is wrong with you? No.
It's fine. I'm fine.
Nothing is wrong. Nothing is wrong.
Were you just referencing the dog in the fire meme? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything is fine. The whole world's, the whole house burning down, right? But in reality, it wasn't. My mental state was not right. I wasn't taking care of myself. I was taking care of everybody else. And that's a downfall to me. I worry about every single other person other than myself. I always put others first. And that came to me as an anxiety attack. So what do you do? Like, here I am. I like to think that I'm a very well together, put together guy trying to dissect, why did I react this way? Why was it and it's clear that it was denial. I was like in denial of somebody telling me I had a problem. When in reality, I did have a problem. And I needed to cut off certain things, limit myself, and then take a breath. Take a breath for you. What do you what do you like to do, Brando? Well, shit, I like to play games. When's the last time you played a game? Fuck. Months. It had been months. I was so focused on so many other things. I'm like, you know what? That's when I played God of War. That's when I sat down and played God of War.
You fucking picked a good one.
Well, and I mean, it was just a matter of, sure, I had time to play here and there. But as you grow as a human, as you grow to get more responsibility, whether that's with children or your families, work, your hobbies, or everything, you can over-encumber yourself very easily. You can all of a sudden be moving so fast, doing so many things, trying to juggle so many things, that it can have a detrimental effect on you, even though you're having fun, even though you're, enjoying yourself. It's putting a strain on you. And when other people start to notice that, and then, of course, like I said, the big manly man, denial. No, I'm fine.
Get off my lawn.
No, okay, you're not. And it's like, only in reflection was I able to really see I wasn't right.
Oh, yeah.
And it didn't take very long for that reflection to kick in, but it was just like, man, why did I react in such a negative way to that? Was it how it was said to me? Was it this or that? Okay, maybe this, but it's like, what is there ever a good time or a good way to tell somebody, hey, are you okay? Maybe you've been going too hard.
Well, because that's the other side of what I said about you're not less of a person to ask for help. We as people, a lot of times, even though we deeply care about somebody, we don't want to offend them by saying, hey, man, are you doing all right? Everything going okay at home? Whatever it is, however you pose that question, most of the times we don't want to offend. We don't want to be the person that's like, oh, yeah, fucking get off my back, Mom. I'm doing okay.
Yeah.
I made my bed this morning. with the best intentions, you know, a lot of times, regardless how you say it, perception is reality for most people, and they can take it as you being condescending and maybe a tad hostile when it's always the best of intentions.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
Good talk.
Good talk.
As per usual, when I come on the show, things start going deep, man.
Well, we went to the height of the Butterfinger Mountains. Like, we went through Butterfinger Prime, the golden age of delicious peanut butter candy, and then, you know, we tracked through the 7 layers of the nostalgia forest, and then we ended up in the pit of despair, and then we saw a sunshine smiley face cloud, and we rode a rainbow to salvation.
Very nicely put.
We rode a rainbow to salvation in the Talons of Freedom.
Yes.
The Talons of
Yes.
Freedom.
And that freedom,
Really did.
yeah, I dug
pretty
it.
good.
Yeah, that the Talons of Freedom belong to an American bald eagle, of course.
Right.
Has this story been shared
It
yet?
has not been
Oh,
shared. I've been
yes.
saving it.
Hell yes.
That's why this episode's called "The Talons of Freedom."
I was going to ask you, but I'm just going to let this play out.
So, as you know, our temporary John, very interesting fellow. So I just happened to overhear him talk. I think he was talking to Laura, and he said, or maybe he was talking to me, and I was just walking away, and I don't know.
You were doing that thing where you were detached from reality again.
I do that.
It does. It happens.
Excuse me. So I hear him say, what I thought he said was, I saw a bald eagle in my room. And I'm like, what? That okay? So yeah, he was talking to somebody else, and I heard that and chimed in. I'm like, what? Inside your room? He goes, no, I saw it from my room. Oh,
Oh.
okay.
I thought he had like a crazy freedom animal sex thing going on.
I was like, that would honestly be very terrifying. He's like, oh, I know. It would rip me to death.
Oh yeah, those are big fucking birds, man.
And then he out of nowhere, I started walking away, and he's like, what is the average wingspan of an American bald eagle? I'm like, I don't know, 7 to 8 feet. And he's like, wow, that's
astounding.
That's astounding. And then he looks it up over lunch, of course, because
Yeah.
that's him. He's got to know.
If there's a tidbit of information that is missing, he must find out everything about it.
Yeah. So he's like, dude, you were right. It's like 5 to 6 feet. I'm like, yeah, I know my birds of prey. and then I told you, didn't I?
Yeah.
And that's where the whole Talons of Freedom thing. What did you say exactly?
Well,
This is a week out. I'm trying
to like go back.
we've been
to my
saving this, and it didn't work because it was supposed to be last week's episode.
I said he said man, those things are like could rip me apart. I'm like with the Talons of Freedom.
Yes.
God, I want to get a really badass bald eagle tattoo, like somewhere on my body, where it's the fucking like he's diving with the talons first instead of beak first.
Yeah.
The fucking talons, and just I want like one of those like really artsy scrolls, and it just says fucking Talons of Freedom. And there's like fireworks going off in the background.
Well, when Blaine had told me that he thought he had heard that he saw a bald eagle in his room, I said, that is the most heritage thing I think I've heard in a while. I have a bald eagle in my room.
That's Jethro. We share the apartment. He keeps the rodents to a minimum.
Wow.
It's a fucking bald eagle with a mullet named Jethro.
Rodents and small dogs.
And small peoples.
Patriotism in the front, party in the back.
Fuck yeah.
I told Cameron has a mohawk.
Did I hear
now.
there's communism here?
So Cameron has a mohawk now,
Okay.
and I told him he needs to grow it out to a mullet hawk.
Oh my God. I'm so hard right now.
A mullet hawk.
Yes.
Yeah.
God.
He needs to do it.
So let's think back to the 80s to the early 90s when we replaced the mullet with the bowl cut.
Oh, yeah.
Just right before that, right on the edge in the heyday of the mullet. Every culture had their version of the mullet. We had the OG mullet. Women had the she mullet, where
Yeah.
it was, that fucking hair was teased in the front, and it looked like a fucking pony or a thoroughbred's tail in the back. You had the OG mullet. You had the rat mullet, the fucking mullet tail.
Yeah.
The rat tail?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Yes.
The Jedi braid.
Black people had the Jerry curl mullet,
Yes.
where it was fucking greasy and curly from the front all the way down to the back. So that was, party and business blended.
Yes.
No separation.
No segregation.
No segregation. Wow. God, that one hurt me. Just every fucking culture in the 80s embraced the mullet. If you didn't have fucking mullet, if you didn't have a mullet, a wife beater, and a fucking parachute jumpsuit, you were a piece of shit. And no one in this fucking great country, protected by the Talons of Freedom, went against that.
I'm going to try to start making a habit of writing down what we talk about. So I can...
Making good sound bites.
No, that and so I know what to put in the description because this shit's good.
Oh, man.
This has been brewing for 2 weeks.
The fucking bowl cut, though.
God damn it. Yeah, let's move on to the bowl cut. I like the nostalgia of this episode because I'll be the first to admit, not only do I miss my childlike innocence of the 90s or of my childhood, but I also really miss the fucking 1990s. I really do.
I've been watching the 90s on CNN, the CNN special.
How's that?
It's rough because the first 2 episodes are nothing but 90s television.
Yeah, but fucking Friends was 90s television, and that shit's a classic.
Dude, TGIF?
Yeah. Fucking
I know,
90210.
but you go back and
oh,
watch
my
it.
man.
You go back and watch it, and you're like, oh.
Saved by the Bell?
See, I never watched. I watched Saved by
I
the
fucked with Saved by the Bell
Bell. I
real
watched Saved
hard.
by the Bell.
I went back and watched my old Full House and Family Matters.
Yeah, Family Matters. We watch that every day. Fuck. Did I do that?
It's funny because when you're younger, you identify more with the kids, and now that I'm older, I so identify with Carl.
Yes.
Carl's my man. He's the one guy trying to keep the whole house together. He's the patriarch. He's out there earning a living. Now, granted, Harriet, she's a working woman too. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to try and say that, but Carl's the glue, man. He's the guy that he takes upon himself to keep that family together. All he wants is a peaceful house, goddammit.
And, we have to point out the fact that he saved Christmas and Nakatomi Plaza, so.
You are correct.
Let's talk about that.
And also, why has this guy been so typecasted as a cop? He was in Ghostbusters. Mm-hmm. He's in Die Hard 1 and 2 as a cameo.
Yep.
Wasn't he in Loaded Weapon?
I don't think he was.
Damn.
I don't think he was, but
that came up in my memories today, by the way.
Loaded Weapon?
That I watched it.
Is that the one with Charlie Sheen?
No.
Charlie Sheen has a cameo. It's Emilio Estevez and Sam Jackson.
But it's just like Hot Shots, where it's just parodying everything.
Action movies, Lethal Weapon, Die Hard. There's actually a scene where they're parodying one of the Lethal Weapons, where the helicopter blows up his trailer on the beach. Mm-hmm. And in this movie, they get the wrong trailer. And it blows up, and out of the rubble crawls out Bruce Willis wearing a white
I saw
beater.
that.
He's got a white flag. He's like, what? He's like, and then the dude on the helicopter is asking, is this 1214 Hollywood Boulevard? No, this is 1213. 14's down that way. Sorry, no problem. He just has a-
I watched that on like Stars or like Showtime like 6 months ago.
I had no-
That's the first time I'd ever seen it.
I had no idea it existed until about 2-3 years ago when
Everything
he
in
told
that
me
movie
about
is
it.
a fucking gag.
Oh, yeah, it's
He
great.
gets out of his car. Emilio Estevez in the very beginning, he's wearing these cowboy boots.
He looks rough in that movie too.
Yeah, but he throws in a cigarette, puts it out, throws in a cigar.
He had
puts
me
it out.
so hyped on this movie that I just went and bought it.
You bought it?
Yeah, it's upstairs.
Damn it.
He throws down his pipe,
Yep.
puts it out. And then he walks inside. It's this like mini mart run by Arabs. And he grabs a cheeseburger, throws it in the microwave, goes to look at the magazines and all of the inserts for the subscribe now, all the ads and everything. And by the time he's done, like they're like piled up to his shins.
Mm-hmm.
Is that how long he
I
was?
remember that. He's flipping through them and they're just falling out.
And they have like the security cameras that are just looking over his shoulders, and he looks at them and they look away. Everything is a gag. And then he ends up like in a shootout with these guys trying to rob the place. They walk in, grab pantyhose, put it on the counter. The guy goes, "Will that be it?" He goes, "Actually," he opens it, puts it on, and then he tries to rob him. And then he gets in a firefight and he gets like this big machine gun. They fly through the front, window of the store. He's like, "I know what you're thinking. Did he fire 373 or 374 shots?" Well, to be honest with you, I kind of lost track myself.
I just miss shit like that.
Well, it's stupid slapstick comedy, and
You really don't get anything like you did back then.
because back, as I said, with this movie, and then with like Mel Brooks movies, and then with a lot of the National Lampoon movies, everything is a gag.
Yeah.
Well, and then
Everything.
you had great stuff like I don't know how you guys feel about them, but the Beverly Hills Cop stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
I fucking loved Beverly Hills Cop.
Yeah.
My wedding
never seen
party.
it.
My wedding party came down fucking kicked the door open to my reception to the fucking Beverly Hills Cop theme song. Yep. And then I fucking walked down to the Imperial March, but yeah, like
What a shift.
you had Beverly Hills Cop, you had you had Adam Sandler in his heyday, which maybe hasn't aged so well for people like you, but I still think it's that needs to go in the fucking Disney Vault version of comedy. Beverly Hills Ninja. Let's talk about that
movie.
Black
Now,
Sheep,
that's a movie I
Tommy
love.
Boy. I mean, it's just.
Chris Farley.
I mean, it was just like Starship Troopers, man.
Yeah.
And what I love about that is that Starship Troopers is also directed by the same dude, Paul Verhoeven. He also directed RoboCop. Mm-hmm. And those two movies actually have a similar feel about them because they're both parodies, but they're parodies of a certain culture. Like RoboCop is a parody of the 80s, of the business 80s. Everything's corporate. Everything is going to these big business, big business types in these big cities. And quite literally, RoboCop in itself is actually a pretty serious plot.
Right.
But when you watch it, it is a satire of its time period.
Especially watching it right now.
And absolutely. And that
maybe
movie,
back then you wouldn't have noticed it so hard because you were
Yeah.
so involved in the culture. But watching the original RoboCop today, because it was another one that was on like Showtime or Stars not long ago. I sat down and watched it.
It's like watching American Psycho.
Absolutely. I mean, it is like, how could you? I remember watching RoboCop as a kid and be like, man, this movie's fucking badass.
Yeah.
He's
Oh,
a
yeah.
robot cop. Like, that is so cool. But, I mean, like, as an adult in the 80s, how could you not have picked up on that satire? Because up until, recently, I have never heard anyone label the movie that way. It's just it's an 80s action movie. That's all I've heard anyone ever say.
No. Like, you watch that movie, and it's very aware of itself, and it's humor. There's no way that you can watch that and not laugh. There's a scene, a very iconic scene in the movie when they first introduced Ed 209. Mm-hmm. It's in a board meeting, right? This is going to be the future. This tank, this walking tank, is going to clean up the streets of Detroit for us to start building our new city. So they're going to do a whole presentation. So the senior vice president, Dick Jones, brings up this young impressionable executive, you know, and like, will you help me out? Yes, sir. Right? Of course. He's like gonna be, yeah, I'll the senior vice
Right
president.
away.
And then, you know, they have a loaded weapon. They have like a pistol, a monster of a pistol too.
Right. It's a beefy boy.
And he goes, and they're like, pointed at me. He goes, now pointed at Ed 209. And of course, it's automated. Vroom! You know, it's like, you're violating penal code such and such of a, you know, hostile weapon.
Right.
You know, you have 20 seconds to comply. Basically, you have 20 seconds to throw your weapon down. He throws it. He doesn't hear it. So then he gets more aggressive, and he basically starts counting down. Ed 209 is equipped with, like, Gatling guns, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And
Gatling gun.
and he's like trying to run and hide, and they push him back out away from the board, like from the big table, and it just lights him up for 20 seconds.
Oh, yeah.
Boom, 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 and I'm talking high caliber rounds.
Yeah.
He ends up flying through the air on top of the model of the new city that they're going to build. He's just getting, like in the unrated version, still getting shot at, and then finally like the Ed 209, and they're just like. And one guy goes, somebody gonna call a goddamn paramedic? Oh my God, what happened? And then the president, old man, that is his actual name in the movie. He's just old man. Dick, I'm very disappointed. It's just a glitch, minor setback. You call this a glitch? He slams his fist down and goes, we're 6 months away from construction. They don't give a fuck about this kid getting gunned down in their boardroom. And it's funny because then the other guy sweeps in. He's like, hey, I got this new program called RoboCop. Get a presentation ready in 20 minutes. Meet me in my office. So he sweeps in underneath the vice president. Hey, I'm moving up in the world. It's the whole business acumen from the 80s, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then he walks out with his partner, with his other executives, like, see, that's how you do it, man. You see an opening and you go for it. Like, he's going to be out to get you. Man, fuck him. He dropped the ball and I was there to pick it up. And he was like, yeah. Sucks about Kenny, though, huh? Well, that's life in the big city. Getting gunned down in a boardroom by a tank.
By a giant robot tank.
And
like, oops.
This movie's full of that. This movie is full of it. Where, you know, there's actually a serious story with the character, with the RoboCop character and his family, and him losing his family, him losing his memories, but not his feelings.
Right.
He gets flashes of memories. He's like, what is this? Why am I feeling this? I know that he's basically He's a machine whose mind is wiped, but he's starting to get his memories back. Which is what I liked about the reboot. One of the few things I did like about the reboot is that they reversed it. Where he had all his memories and everything. He's like, what am I going to do? Oh, no. And then he starts losing them as he's getting more.
Yeah. I liked the reboot.
It wasn't bad for, like, because what I liked about the reboot is that it did exactly what the first one did, and it was a satire of our current way that we do things. The whole Fox News, Sam Jackson type thing, where you have like a news thing that's like feeding in, and it's not so much of news as it is opinion. And that's another thing about Starship Troopers, which started off this whole diatribe. When the Starship Troopers movie really satires like hyper government and hyper globalism and everything, with everything that you watching be like news and everything being government owned and everything.
Do you want to know more?
Do you want to know more? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's again, it's an awesome movie with big guns and bugs, but
and tits. Let's talk about that too. There's tits.
you got some of those.
So that came out what year? 97?
97, yeah, something
96
like that.
or 97.
Casper Van Dien.
It was my
Pastor
first.
Van Dien, that son of a bitch with that chin and that forehead, man.
Dude, he looked like a damn action hero, like
Oh,
in
yeah,
the
he
making back then, didn't
yeah,
he?
I did.
That was my first attempt at fan fiction.
Writing Starship Troopers.
What?
And it was very short.
Why
it
have
was
you never told me this?
Because I'm just not remembering.
Oh my god.
It was like literally one page.
Oh. Was it nothing but tits?
No.
You got like
I
halfway
was
down the
writing
page
it-
and just started drawing like the most voluptuous fucking
No,
bodacious. There's some
no.
90s terms for you.
Bodacious.
Fucking boobs.
No, I was writing it like as if like kind of like a
Were you writing it-
star like a captain's log type thing, like
Okay.
I thought you were gonna say you were writing it bug POV.
bug POV.
Here I am on Kondafu.
No, I was writing it like kind of like journal entries. I was writing it like journal entries, and which is that I was in first grade, in 97. So
That's awesome. Like,
writing from a journal perspective as a first
I
grader.
wrote a RoboCop story in first grade.
Nice.
I wrote lots of Jurassic Park stories in first grade.
Like, we had to write it like a short story, and I wrote it like, okay, so I'm in first grade watching RoboCop, right? And I'm like, yeah, RoboCop shot the bad guys, and they gave him a medal. I'm like, they were stealing stuff from the store. RoboCop showed up and shot them.
Yeah.
All I can remember from it was, so I was writing, like, it was a journal entry, and I had like several different entries, and they were both short because I didn't know how to write like in length. First grader. So all I remember is like, oh yeah, the bugs or the arachnids decimated this city, and then like we're working on an ultra nuclear
Yeah, right.
nuclear bomb.
We're going to get the bugs. We're going to bring our freedom to them with our nuclear armaments.
They're going to get the
Nuclear.
heritage.
They're gonna get the heritage.
So, on a side note, while we're still talking about Starship Troopers, did you guys know you guys just kicked both of those back in perfect unison, and I've never seen anything cooler in this room. Not only did you guys lean back in tandem, but every motor function was identical. It was in unison. Anyway, did you guys know that Starship Troopers is not only one of the most successful, but one of the greatest sci-fi stories of all time?
Really?
Yeah. Look up whenever you feel like it when the original Starship Troopers novel was written. Pretty sure it was in the 60s.
Okay.
But it might have been before that. I'm not entirely sure. I might have my dates off. But it has been around for a long time, and there is a lot of them. There's a lot of Starship Trooper books.
I am intrigued.
You know the most used,
Here, I'll just look it up while we're talking about it. Go
you know
ahead.
the most used and recycled plot line is the I Am Legend plot line.
Yeah, I talked about that.
Oh, that was you. I thought that was Joe Rogan.
No, I talked
Shit.
about that on I talked about that on Journey into Comics.
Oh,
Where I Am Legend is like a remake of a remake.
yeah.
It's like a remake inspired by a remake of the original movie.
I'm pretty sure, and I might have my dates wrong on that one too, but I'm pretty sure that original story was written in the 30s.
yeah. I could have swore that was like on the Joe Rogan podcast.
Okay, so Starship Troopers, the first book originally written or originally published, 1959. So we went to the moon. This book was published November 5th of 1959. So,
It's my birthday.
Robert A. Heinlein, written in a few weeks in reaction to the U.S. suspending nuclear tests. The story was first published as a two-part serial in the magazine and fantasy and science. The magazine of fantasy and science fiction as Starship Soldier, and published as a book by G.P. Putnam's and Sons in December of 1959. So, just a second. So, obviously, there was a film adaptation. Dark Horse Comics and Mongoose have made comic books based on it.
They've done a animated series,
Yep.
like in '99.
The animated series.
What was that, Rico's Roughnecks?
Yep.
What that's called?
I'm trying to look because I know I have looked before, like on Amazon, to buy some of these books. I know there's more than one. But, like, you ever watch something that there's only like one of, or play a video game that it's like it's niche in the genre, and you're like, God, I gotta have more of that.
Yeah.
I gotta find books, I gotta find TV, I gotta find a movie. You know, I've done that a lot with Mass Effect. I want something similar. I want more media similar to Mass Effect.
I've read all but the last book from the original trilogy, because that one was the last one that, and it wasn't written by Drew Karpyshyn. Of course, he was one of the lead writers on Mass Effect from the beginning, and then he ended up
that guy.
leaving. Yes, because he also worked on KOTOR. He's also worked on the Revan books, and
The
I
Darth
also
Bane books.
Yeah. I also got the Resident Evil books.
Oh man, I was
those-
a big fan of those.
And what I like about those is that like they have the books that are adaptations of the games, but what they gave the author, they gave her kind of like some freedom to interpret it.
Well, her last name was Perry, right?
SD Perry
SD
is
Perry.
the
Yep.
author.
Yep.
And then, so of course, you have the original course, the first book is the first game, and of course, like with that one, you have two characters, right? Chris and Jill. And when you play as one, you get one story and you do the exact same stuff, but you have a different side character, like Barry for Jill or Rebecca for Chris.
Mm-hmm.
And then like it rounds out to where like you get to save one of the other people, but you don't get to save the other. Like those four people survive that incident, but in the games you never see all four of them together.
Mm-hmm.
In the books, they actually change it to where like both stories are happening at the same time. And then she did original stories in between some of the game adaptations, where you had like different variations of zombies and doing stuff. Some of the side stories kind of focused more on characters that aren't main characters. She even made some new characters, and I really like that because then she was able to kind of really weave these new stories in and out of the main narrative.
Caliban Cove was one of my favorites.
Caliban Cove, that was number 2. Caliban Cove, it focused on Rebecca, and it happens right after the mansion, the first game, and then the third book is actually the second. That one's City of Evil. It's like the third book is the second game.
Yeah,
it's interesting.
I'm gonna go through the whole book series right now because you reactivated a section of my brain that hasn't been active for a long time.
I got those in 2007, and I was in a really big Resident Evil kick and was playing all the games, and I'm like, I need more, just like you said. And I found the books, and I got them really cheap on eBay. Other than Zero wasn't in that bundle. I had to buy that one separately.
I have them all. I bought them as they released from Barnes & Noble. Like I had them call, like I basically pre-ordered the books. So as they released, I remember getting a call from my home phone from Barnes & Noble's. Hey, your book's in. Okay, I'll be there when I can. And they would hold my book for me, and I'd be so fucking excited. Because I started reading those books around the time that the original Resident Evil movie with Mila Jovovich came out. So, I had the books and the games and the movie and everything just fueling.
And it's cool because all three are kind of different. Because you have the games version of the narrative. The movies are completely separate. But then the books are kind of like, yeah, we got the narrative down, but here's some other different interpretation of it. And I like that a lot.
But part of the reason I like S.D. Perry so much, she also wrote a lot of Aliens universe books. So she wrote one in 93, 96, 98, and then again in 2008. She did some AVP stuff in 94 and 99.
Early. Yeah.
And then she did,
kind of coming off the comic or something.
1998, she did book 1, The Umbrella Conspiracy. And then 98, also, she did book 2. That's Caliban Cove.
Man, that's really early on for that series, too.
That was her first original story. 99, she did book 3, City of the Dead. That's Resident Evil 2. 99, she also did Underworld.
That was another original that took place after
2000.
Nemesis.
Yep, she did Nemesis. 2001, she did Code Veronica, so that came out right around the same time as the game. And then in 2004, my favorite book, she did Zero Hour, which is basically the book version of Resident Evil 0. Because as far as Resident Evil 0 is my favorite in the series, second to Resident Evil 2, because I really like the character of David. That's his name, right, David?
Wait, the
handcuff guy.
Billy,
thank you.
David, Billy,
Yeah. Well,
generic names.
Yeah, generic names. Generic action horror game movie book. Billy.
I actually saw some. There was some footage posted up on YouTube of the original N64 build of the game.
Ooh.
And it was really cool to see that.
Man, I bet that was spicy.
It was very Resident Evil 2-y.
Oh yeah.
Because it's probably on the same engine.
But I second everything that Branden said about these books. If anyone wants good medium-length novels to read, they are all fantastic. S.D. Perry is a fantastic author. But what I was getting at is there's a lot of stuff that I have searched for, like an extension of whatever it is, and I can't ever find it. And so sci-fi is my favorite genre of media. Fantasy's obviously up there, but it's hard to beat sci-fi because it's everything that we have now except cooler.
Yeah.
And you look at a lot of the like New York Times bestseller sci-fi novels today, and they always guaranteed always list Starship Troopers, the original novel in 1959, as one of their inspirations. You know, they obviously throw in, you know, all of the sci-fi greats, but that fucking Starship Troopers book is always in there, and I could never understand why. So, I mean, it's just fucking cool, man.
Yeah.
Something that was written in 1959 is still fucking relevant.
Yeah, hell yeah. I mean, there's a lot of works like that, you know, whether it's books or otherwise, people are still looking back to the old cinema and being inspired, like a lot of the things that were done with robots and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
With what's that movie? Old movie, was that Metropolis?
Mm-hmm.
You know, that movie really set a tone for like the 60s and 70s when it comes to using robots and even animatronics and everything like that, going forward with that. So it's kind of cool.
Well, that whole vibe of, you know, this is the world of tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that all kind of just bloomed in the late 50s, you know, at the start of the Cold War. The Cold World, the ninth ice age. But at the very beginning of the Cold War, you know, post Korean War, and then you've got that powerful movie like Metropolis. Could you imagine seeing a movie like Metropolis in the theaters if you were alive in the 50s?
And it might have been even before that. Like,
Right.
It might have been in like the 30s.
But you know what I'm saying, like,
Mind blown.
like, fucking, that's a robot.
That robot's moving.
That metal man's walking and talking and doing stuff. I'll be bamboozled.
I don't know why, but you talking about the Cold. You said Cold War, and I immediately I know what the Cold War is, obviously.
The Cold War or Cold World?
Cold War.
Okay.
But I saw in my head pop Civil War, which today at work,
Oh no.
John
Go figure.
and Joe,
Oh,
they
no.
work together.
Oh, no.
They heavily dislike each other.
Okay. Did
It's very
John get a skin flake in his mouth?
no.
Okay.
But they're working together,
Thank
and
God.
Joe's been on vacation for the last week.
I know, he fucking blew my phone
Oh.
up the whole time.
Oh, wow.
Hey, man, what was that food you told me I should eat? Oh, man, I tried it. It was great.
Well, you can get into that in a
I
second.
tried this, too. It was great.
You can get into that in a second, but so before they left, John was they were at each other's throats, passive aggressively.
Can I interject and ask
Yeah.
this real quick? Is it sexual tension?
Maybe, almost.
Okay, proceed.
But today they were working together, and I was pleasantly surprised to hear John teaching Joe.
Oh.
He was giving him a history lesson because John is a huge history nut.
It is like he is so into it that once you open the floodgates, once you've started it, it just goes.
Like you and I talking up on Station 14?
Yeah. Oh, and yeah, it just. Except for
You get all the details and all the information.
he can't condense himself. I once condensed his statement about how he can't condense himself.
We call him John the Unabridged.
Okay, I like it.
Oh.
Is he like time stamping dates and shit?
Dude, yes.
God.
You're gonna get a taste of him this Friday.
Oh.
At least, if you're here or if you're watching live.
Is it the first GOT?
Yeah, the
Or
episode 00.
Oh.
GOC or GO?
I didn't know anything about it.
Yeah, yeah. We decided. I decided when the trailer dropped, the Game of Thrones trailer dropped, and he just started once again the floodgates open. He started telling me about it. I'm like, okay, I want to do an episode just for the trailer now. So,
He has dissected it. He has gone through.
Scene by scene.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He
Frame
doesn't
by
do-
frame.
He doesn't do anything half-assed when it comes to things that he's passionate about.
So Joe and him are working side by side on Station 11 today. And Joe, for whatever reason, started asking John about the Civil War. So John was giving him a full-on history lesson on the Civil War. And I of course brought it up to him later. I'm like, so I saw you and Joe were having a good old time. He's like, he rolls his eyes. And I was like, well, what was that, John? He just, dude, I don't like to pander to idiots.
Dude, I like this guy.
But he was like, but he kept asking me questions, and of course I wanted to answer them because it was about my subject. I love history, so I was like, yeah, dude, that's awesome. Like
They bonded.
I was like, that's really awesome. I wouldn't expect Joe to ask questions like that. I wouldn't expect him to ask to be inquisitive on a subject.
Oh man, he did it to me all the time up on Station 14. He asked me like the 40s and 50s.
Really?
Like World War II era America. Like he didn't fucking stop. So the moment you said he started asking John about the Civil War, that whole conversation played out in my mind because he did it to me.
Oh yeah, and then John was like, he kept asking me stupid questions like, so what broke the camel's back? Like why did it start? And John's like, really? Was it like Fort Sumter? Yeah. He's like, you know what that is, right? And I'm like, yeah, South Carolina. Like, duh. But like to me, I wouldn't think to ask that question. All I think to ask about is like, I actually don't think to ask any questions about the Civil War because I know all I need to know about the Civil War.
It's a time that in America, at least modern day, we've pretty much chosen to forget.
Yes.
As a society.
We forget what got us there because there are certain things going on within our modern society that are like that scream echoes of pre-Civil War era.
Absolutely.
And it's amazing how much we choose to forget any of that. And
because it's not convenient to remember.
Well, no, because I mean it is one of the more bloody periods in our nation's history. I mean, when you think about it, every single person who died, that day was and is now, still considered an American. So, I mean, granted, I have the opinion that the Confederates, when they left, you guys are committing treason right now because you didn't get your way. Essentially, there would be the Democrats were being crybabies.
Opening the bomb.
Oh, here we go.
They don't exactly explode. The thing is, I'm opening the double pineapple fresh fruit. When you pour it,
it's all head.
It's all head.
You just made it worse.
What?
You did.
How? That's what you do.
You introduced turbulence to the carbonation inside the CO2 that's inside that can. You just put force into that can, disturbing the CO2 inside that can.
Well, I'm learning something today, folks, because
I'm not a fucking physicist, okay?
I've always seen people, like, when you don't want a can to explode, they flick the tap.
I've never seen any data backing that.
Well, I mean,
so I've
just seen it happen. I've just seen people do it, and then it doesn't blow up.
You just did a micro version of dropping the thing on the ground.
Okay. Well, we'll see what happens. It's probably gonna be all head.
It makes candy bars taste better when you drop them on the ground.
Is that why that Butterfinger was so fucking good?
It might have been.
Did you run over it with your car? Look at that! Look at that!
Nice little crack.
I can hear the crackle.
It's not even opened all the way. It's just the initial crack.
Lick it. You should have just licked it off like a cat. There you go.
So he brought up Joe Rogan, and just recently Alex Jones is back.
Oh my god! I have waited. I have like strategically waited to watch that episode.
It's like 5 hours long. Mm-hmm. I made it about an hour and a half in.
I made it 45 minutes.
I had to kind of tap out because I want to go further because it gets better. It gets better as far as how angry he gets.
He takes his shirt off at one point, doesn't he?
I don't know if he does in this one.
I'm pretty sure he takes his shirt off.
But basically, the whole a lot of it was him kind of defending himself and all this kind of thing, all that kind of stuff.
I got so tired of it, I couldn't listen to it anymore.
But somebody was brilliant because the episode before Alex Jones was Dr. Phil, and they edited Dr. Phil's interview with Joe to be with Alex and him, them responding to each other. I want you to bring that up. And we're going to watch that on air because this is that good. I played it for Blaine.
Go ahead and talk about it while I set up a scene.
Absolutely.
I'm listening.
But they did it. I'm not sure if it's the same guy who did this before, but somebody did it with Joe Rogan and Joe Rogan, where Joe Rogan interviews Joe Rogan.
I've seen that.
And it's kind of like that, But whoever did, like, because when Alex was on the show, he quite literally would bounce from topic to topic, and he would hit you with 4 things. This is this, this and this, and this and this, and this and this. And Joe's like, dude, you need to calm down. That's 4 different topics. And basically all Joe is trying to get is like, how do you know? What is your proof of this? Oh, it's in literature. Read it. I'll get you the books. I'll even put note tabs in there. It's like, it's in literature. We have it. We have access to it. And it's some of it's pretty out there shit. I've already gone, I've never done so on this show, but I've gone on record, like, Alex Jones is a crazy nut. About 30% of what he says is true.
Here we go.
Let's get some full screen action.
They had cows that produce human milk. 20 years ago, they had spiders that produce body armor, spider guts. Okay, they have human-animal hybrids 30 years ago. They've got giant human tissue farms.
And that's where you lose me.
Bullshit.
Seriously?
That's it right there. Every time I bring up a fucking subject, you know all about it.
Well, I don't know.
25 years ago, they had human-animal embryos, but they killed them at the embryonic level.
Man, you need to go back to the drawing board.
No. I believe it happened. Stop saying I said
It's
it didn't
okay to
happen.
talk about it and not be ashamed of it. It's okay. You've got anxiety, you've got PTSD, whatever. It's okay. Let's talk about it. Let's get help for it. Get it behind you and move on.
To talk about 12 dimensions, 11 known, 12 being omnipresent, so we don't say it actually exists. To say that is arrogant, so I won't say that.
I don't understand that. I listen to your interviews, and you're naturally very curious. You don't struggle for the next question because
Exactly.
you really want to know something. That makes it much easier.
Yeah.
People go and find these things on the internet.
About human-animal hybrids with pigs and cows?
Oh my God.
I'm kind of retarded.
That's a bitch.
God damn it!
Whoever did this was just flawless.
Memories where every night was a DMT trip.
Okay. Short term, it can be an alternative. But I've seen people on everything from opioids to mood elevators for years before you decide you're going to use human lie detector. Do your homework.
Do not say that. I'm going to get killed.
You can get away from that. You need to get away from it.
No, they want the organs.
I can't answer that in terms. I mean, I'm sure there's research.
Aliens are real. They're creating human-animal hybrids that are a new creature never here on Earth. It's alien. So the aliens are already here. AI is alien. The chimeras
There's
are
also
alien.
very smart business and branding that's gone into that as well. I know that you're all.
Dude, this is gold.
Now I want you to prepare an argument for the other side.
Black people are God, and white people are the devil. And we're going to kill the white people.
You're really going to throw them off the charts now. That you're now making hyperactive.
It's electrochemical.
Okay.
I'm reading in the Baltimore Sun after
Holy shit, that's fucking good.
Finish it. It's fucking. Yeah. Like, if that conversation were to genuinely happen, it would be just like that.
I think you would see Dr. Phil get mad a little more often.
Yeah.
Because I'm in a weird place with Dr. I mean, obviously, I'm with Branden on everything that he said about Alex Jones. Alex Jones, in the beginning, was putting forth some pretty controversial but like make you think type information, and then all at once it was, lizard people. I'm gonna have sex with your daughter. I'm gonna take my shirt off, and it just. I mean, it very quickly was like, I'm pretty sure that I've seen like a satire of this before where there's like aliens watching us as a cartoon. Yeah. And this is what we got going on right now. But
and that's when they deem us like not worthy of
Right.
their
Yeah.
interaction. No, let's give it another couple centuries.
No sign of intelligence. No sign of intelligent life. But Dr. Phil, I mean, people can say what they want about him. He's a TV personality like all the rest of them. He's playing a character. I'm not gonna take away any of his credentials.
Have you listened to the Dr. Phil episode?
No, I haven't
It's
yet.
really good.
It is quite excellent.
Dr. Phil and Alex Jones are my next two to listen to because I have spent the last month trying to get through the Elon Musk episode, and I can't do it.
I like that episode.
I can't do it.
I like that episode a lot. Once you get past a certain point, the conversation gets really interesting.
I'm an hour and 20 minutes in, and I can't do it anymore.
It's a 3-hour one, isn't it?
Yeah, I can't do
Okay.
it. It's just awful.
Is he still under review?
I don't know.
For losing his security clearance for the government because he took a puff.
Because he took a puff where it was legal.
And that caused a suspect on his mental sanity.
I mean, it is the reefer madness.
The devil's lettuce.
The fucking reefer madness, man. It's gonna get you.
Jazz cabbage.
The jazz cabbage.
Jazz cabbage.
It will.
But-
that will be my favorite term forever.
So when I worked nights and days going back and forth, the days off that I had throughout the week, a lot of times I would get up at 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, or I would get home later on that afternoon from from running errands, and I would sit down and watch Dr. Phil. I watched Daniel Bergoli, Cash Me Outside. How about that? I watched that.
They talk about that.
I watched that live.
They discuss that. He didn't even remember her name.
Really?
But he remembered.
Cash Me Outside.
No, he remembered that, and he's like, I didn't expect it to blow up like that.
Oh, I've seen that clip. Yeah.
And then he talks about how he brought them back.
But
fuck off, Calvin.
If you get past a lot of the stage actor type stuff that Dr. Phil has to say, and you watch some of the tougher cases that guy has dealt with, guy's pretty fucking smart.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Listen to that episode.
Oh, I
think you'll really like
that's
it.
the next one. That's the next one.
It's a very
playlist.
Mellow episode.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a lot of excitement, especially like the way Dr. Phil talks. I mean,
Well, and that's part of what I was going to point out. When Dr. Phil needs to get excited, he gets excited. If he is taking his time to say, I think, based on my professional opinion, that you have this problem or these problems, I am doing my job to educate you on what is ailing you or what could be ailing you. And if a guest or whoever he's talking to basically tells him to fuck off, you're wrong. You're a fucking crock. You're just a whack doctor or whatever. He is very passionate about what he's doing. He wants to help people. Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, he's making a lot of money doing it.
Sure.
But he's still being legitimate.
And he's got to know that there's going to be some people out there that are going to come on just to seek fame. Like they said about the Cash Me Outside girl and her mom, and how they sent the Cash Me Outside girl to her little rehabilitation center, and they got
with the horses. I remember watching that. Yeah.
And they got word back that she was doing great, and she got back and it all fell apart. So he invited them back on, and they got there and there was an audience, and they were
I watched that. I watched that one live too.
And he's like, they had nothing to say because there was no audience to pander to.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, and it's just like, there it is. Was there really a problem? Maybe, but they weren't concerned about the problem as much as they were concerned about getting famous.
Right.
she has her own show on Snapchat now. That's a thing.
They have shows on Snapchat now?
They're in presented in 20, 30-second clips. And
is it just her twerking all the time and shit?
No, it's really just her and her mom arguing, and then
they're still arguing after she paid her mom's house off?
It's really not that she paid her mom's house off and then bought a new one. Like they got this nice little mansion now, and she's got a bodyguard,
and they still can't get along.
It's really stupid. It just popped up and hey, subscribe to this, and I was like, okay, this has got to be good.
I gotta go tinkle. I'm gonna go tinkle and subscribe to that Snapchat. Be right back.
You do what you got to do, man. I know. I've got a beer and a almost full Coke coursing through me.
I've had 3 drinks in like 5 minutes, so.
While he's gone, I guess I'll start talking about the concert last night.
Yeah, I forgot to even bring that up. Holy shit!
And I'm wearing the shirt.
You're wearing it.
Yeah, I'm wearing the shirt. Yeah, so went and saw Metallica last night.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of people in there.
How far away were you?
Like I was in section 111.
Yeah.
And it was like the section above the first section that has like seating.
Mm-hmm.
So like there was a whole section of like above us that were like the nosebleeds. When we were like, I was like right in the middle.
Yeah. And how was that from that?
Oh, dude, I could see everybody. They weren't specs.
You weren't relying on the jumbo screen.
No, I could see them. And here, I'll show you a quick picture.
I guess the way that place is set up, it would make sense that because they usually have, they usually have like basketball games there, and you can very clearly see things no matter where you're at. In that place.
No, the layout was pretty cool. Their stage is really neat because their stage is in the center.
Yeah,
and of course they have these light cubes, which it's easier to just show you.
That's the same place they played in like 10 years ago with Lamb of God.
Yeah.
Was it Lamb of God and Slipknot?
It's been remodeled
Lamb of
since
God?
then. I'm pretty sure the last time they played there, it was still Conseco Fieldhouse.
No, Jennifer, you haven't missed it. Keep watching.
Oh God.
Anyway, during Moth into Flame, they had these little remote control moths that came out of the stage.
Fuck yeah.
They circled around ahead, and they all went back down into there. They're all individuals, and they all went back down like into there. So they're all programmed. Those big light boxes. It's it might be difficult to see, but they've got like all a bunch of signs for like strips, joints, and they're used for different like designs for each one, and they've raise and lower.
Cool.
The only pyro they had flames for fuel, and for fight fire with fire. And you could actually feel the heat when they woof.
My friend Alan, who's drummer for Arcos, formerly Drench.
Yeah.
He works for Purdue running sound there. His boss gave him tickets there, so he was hanging out.
Fuck yeah!
He was hanging out with the sound people.
Oh hell yeah!
Like
Oh, hell yeah, man!
Oh hell yeah, man!
Oh, hell yeah, man!
So there was no opening act. It was Jim Brewer was kind of the opener MC, which was hilarious because he was cracking jokes. He's talking to like, look, I'm gonna tell you, I saw the band in 1985 opening for Ozzy Osbourne.
I remember his Slayer joke. He went to the Big Four concert, and he's like, and then Slayer came, and it's like there was a horn sounded, and he says, "Release the Slayer fans."
He talked about them being older. He's like, don't worry, it's not that you're sitting too far away. Kirk really has white hair now. Okay, James, he looks a little bit different. Like he could be on the set of Orange County Choppers. Like, give me fuel, give me fire, somebody fix that tire.
I love fucking Jim Brewer.
He was having a good time. He found the youngest person in the audience, 6.
Nice.
And he brought the kid on stage.
Oh, that's badass.
He got drumsticks. He was declared the new prince of heavy metal. His name is Damien. So
nice.
So
then he encouraged all of us to chant in unison, 20,000 people, all hail the new metal Prince Damien. And then he found the oldest guy. He was 80.
Nice.
Holy fuck.
Fuck yeah.
There was one dude that was close. He was like 68. And this dude was on the floor.
Fuck yeah.
And then this dude was like doing this. He goes, What you been doing out there, pal? Out there freebasing? Dude, you look like Flea. Well, like the first dude he said, he was only like 50 something, and he looked like Jerry Garcia. He goes, I didn't know Jerry Garcia was still alive. And then the guy that was 80, he was sitting in that first little sitting section. He was like, dude, man, you look like you're about ready to serve donuts. like do you have a bakery? And then he got both those that guy and then the Flea guy T-shirts.
Fuck yeah.
Those guys. And it took a little bit. because he came out a few times and like kind of hyped us up a little bit, and then Metallica came out. Of course,
What did they open with?
Hardwired. Of course, they played, which, I mean, this is my first Metallica concert. They did Long Way to the Top. Where they played the whole song, and then it went right into the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, Ecstasy of Gold that they always play. They've been playing for that for decades.
Man, that fucking instrumental, Ecstasy of Gold, is just, in my opinion, one of the greatest fucking instrumentals ever.
Oh, dude.
I mean, I remember in the early 2000s when 93.5 played fucking Ecstasy of Gold like every 30 minutes. And that is the only time in my memory that an instrumental has been played more than once, like a year, on a major radio station.
It serves as like the greatest, like getting you hyped up.
Oh yeah.
You know, because it's one of those things that starts here and it just kind of builds and builds and builds and then crescendos. Yeah, they started with Hardwired, and then they went right into Atlas Rise from the new album. They played quite a bit from the new album. If I could be picky, I would replace one of the songs with a different song. But they just started playing this other song live like 2 other times.
Really?
So I'm okay with it because they're like, hey, you know, we want to start like diversifying. You know, we want like basically for their sets, they have certain songs that they play at every single venue, and then there are spots on the set list that they just go something else here, something else here, something else here. Mm-hmm. And so the set list was the Ecstasy of Gold, Hardwired, Atlas Rise, Seek and Destroy, Ride the Lightning.
That's my favorite ever.
The Unforgiven, Now That We're Dead, with extended middle drum section. There was a point where they all stopped playing their instruments, and they had those little light boxes. They had these sticks, and they were basically like we were seeing Stomp live, like, and they all had like it was just thunderous. You could feel it there. Like I will say, like the mix was very well done. They're probably one of the better sounding bands. You know, like it's gonna be difficult to say whether or not this is my favorite live show I've ever been to because I've seen Iron Maiden, and Bruce Dickinson is a fucking beast.
Right.
No pun intended.
Madman.
So after that was Creeping Death, then For Whom the Bell Tolls.
So good.
Which was awesome. Nate made mention to me last night. Oh yeah, because I ran into Nate at the show. We actually ran into each other right near the beginning when we were in separate lines, but we all merged into the same area. So I ran into like the Padre.
Podfather.
I call him Pod Daddy.
See, Padre sounds. I like Padre. I think Padre works good.
You just got a new nickname, Nate.
But you know, we saw them, and then right after security, I kind of lost track of them. Because then there was another sort of like meeting of the groups to get your ticket scanned, and then I went right to the bathroom. I had to piss, and then I went right to the merch line. I was in the merch line for it. Honestly, it was a long line, but they had like 7 or 10 different people working the merch.
Really?
So like
that's smart. I hate it when you go to a concert and you go up to the merch table and it's like 2 people.
No.
That have the little fucking cube, and 90% of the time it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, your card's just not working.
Yeah, I was worried that mine wasn't going to because I brought cash to get a shirt and ended up having to just put it on the credit card because I was $5 less in my wallet to get this shirt.
Yikes.
But as soon as I got done with there, I found out where to go, went up, found my seat. Nate never saw me during the show. He was like, I think you were sitting above me. I'm like, I could look across from you and see you. Like it was literally like I was here looking down over there. I knew exactly where they were. But anyway, after For the Bell Tolls, Here Comes Revenge. That was the one that I was like, I probably could have done with one of the other songs from the album. Not that I like hate that song, but I like other songs more. I like Dreaming No More is a great. Mm-hmm. I love that. That song has such a reload feel to it. And after that was they did like a little Kirk and Rob thing where they were playing like local Indiana stuff. People from Indiana.
Nice.
Where they were just jamming and kind of sounding shitty, but they didn't give a fuck. And then they played Hit the Lights. And then they did Fuel. And then they did Moth into Flame, which for some reason I thought that was a lot earlier in the set, but I guess not. When they went to go start Moth into Flame, this was the really big mess up of the night. Lars was counting it down. Kirk jumped right into it, and they all like, and they're like, ladies and gentlemen, Kirk Hammett. It's like, we all get one mess up a night. We all get one. And then it was Sad But True. One, Master of Puppets. You know. And then for the encore, Fire with Fire, Nothing Else Matters, Enter Sandman.
Oh, they didn't do Harvester of Sorrow? God damn.
They, for some of them, they swap out like Creeping Death, Froom the Bell Tolls, Unforgiven, Ride the Lightning. They've swapped out Fire with Fire, because I've seen them where they come back up with the encore with Battery. I've seen them come back from the encore with Spit Out the Bone. Just going through the set list, and there's like, you know, other songs like Unforgiven, and then there's like The Memory Remains, Harvester of Sorrow. You know, every time they go to a new place, they try to like, all right, which ones are we going to do for this place?
I dig that.
And so like, I like that because of course they're the ones that they've really chosen. Like, okay, there's no way that we can get out of town without playing Sandman or One or Master of Puppets or Seek and Destroy. So let's find a spot for them. I like that they did Seek pretty early. It definitely set like, you know, hitting 2 new songs and going right into Seek and Destroy and Ride the Lightning. That was really cool. Go all the way back.
I want to see Ride the Lightning so bad.
That was
live. Oh.
What I will say. Okay, so even though I said Kirk messed up, solo wise, Kirk was on it. Unless he was playing to a tape, that dude was nailing these solos, and I will say that like he was on point. I would dare to say that in some instances, The Unforgiven's a hard song to play live.
Oh yeah.
That has got to be because you're not protected by distortion or wah or anything to hide little flub ups, you know, because a lot of that song is clean. You know, James has a guitar strapped to him, and then he has to play an acoustic on like a mic stand. So he's doing the best he can. Kirk's then doing the best that he's got with a clean guitar. And so a couple spots in there, it kind of sounded okay, a little rough, but I accepted it because it's Unforgiven, and I'm seeing Unforgiven live.
Right.
Which, you know, they play it, but it's not one of the most commonly played songs from the Black Album. They would much rather play like Wherever I May Roam or
Oh man, I want to hear Don't Tread on Me.
Don't Tread on Me. You know what? There was one of the shows I saw on the tour, they played Through the Never. And also, I've also seen one where they played the track 3.
Oh man.
Holier Than Now.
Okay. Yeah.
They're really fast. They sounded fantastic. Their mix was fantastic. I love their stage show with all those boxes coming down and making different things. There was a scene where Rob started doing the anesthesia, and some of the boxes came down. And it was all just like Cliff on the boxes, and
I played anesthesia.
And
how was Lars?
Lars sounded fine. He sounded fine.
He didn't have any meltdowns.
No, I mean it's hilarious because like he was on everybody was pretty much on form, and there's not much that I can say other than a few things the nitpickiness that I noticed. Lars is not the best drummer in the world,
right?
No,
but I mean, I also like the mix of the drums because I didn't feel like they were too loud. You could feel that bass right in here, even back where I was. So like hearing One when it kicks into that double bass part at the end.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then they had like all the strobe lights going off for that. It's damn near like a religious experience. If I can.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I don't know. I can't count how many friends that I had there. And it shocked me how many friends I had there.
It really sucks that, you know, I could not get a ticket with somebody and I was just surrounded by people I didn't know.
Oh, you went totally by yourself?
I was by myself. I mean, again, I ran into Nate, his sister, and his dad. So it was cool to like bump into them. Nobody else I knew. I didn't recognize anybody. It was all just like there were some people that I met near the end where they were standing waiting. I could have swear that they were from New York. I'm like, you guys come all the way over here? But
Yeah, I got really. That's part of the reason why my brain's kind of fried today, because I got so down last night when I started seeing you and Nate posting pictures, because Skylar and I had the opportunity to go.
Yeah.
You know the Krieg DeVault level? You know what I'm talking about? Like in Banker's Life, there's a specific level, the Krieg DeVault level, where you, like if you go up to the second level, all those doors that you can open up to not necessarily go to like the box seats, but to go to the cordoned off areas.
Yeah.
Through Skylar's work, I can get tickets to pretty much any concert there.
Oh, cool.
I could have got basically box seats for $100.
Hell yeah.
And I couldn't go because I had class. I had unionship.
You know what? They last came to Indy 10 years ago. I missed my shot. There was no way that I was going to miss it this time. Tickets were pretty expensive. They were even more expensive on the aftermarket, people trying to sell them. And that place was freaking packed. 20,000 people. I've never been to a concert with that many people. And it's really cool because then you have like...
You got your tickets at Taxmas last year, didn't you?
I got the tickets the day they went on sale last year.
When was that?
It was after Taxmas.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, no. Yeah. No.
I remember it was like, it's been like a year.
No, yeah. No, they went on sale nearly a year out. And the day they went on sale, I didn't have time to contact. Hey, man, if you front, I'll front it and you just pay me back, you know? I didn't have time.
Your boy Strange didn't hook you up with some tickets.
Hey, Brandon, this is Strange. Got some tickets for you.
You know what? I'm really upset because this last year when they did the giveaway for the Injustice for All remastered, you had to call in at like 3 o'clock, and we were always working at 3, so I couldn't call in like, "Hey, Strange, like, did I get it?" "Oh, Brando, not today. Try again tomorrow, man."
Not today, pal.
Yeah.
So here's a thing that I learned from my buddy that went and struggled through the concert last night. He wins concert tickets like every week because he sits at work, listens to the radio giveaways, knows exactly at what point in the song to call to win the tickets. He wins every week. And he said, yeah, a lot of times if I don't win, I just call the day of the show, like, you know, say if it's a Saturday, I'll call it like noon. Hey, did anybody win the tickets and not come pick them up? And 93.5 has given him over a dozen concert tickets.
Just checking in. Because
just calling, saying, hey, has anybody picked up their tickets? Yeah, they never came and picked them up. You've got until 3 p.m. to come and get them. All right, I'll be there.
That's awesome. Because
so if you guys ever want to go to a concert that 93.5 is giving away tickets, call the day of. See if you can get them.
Hell yeah, dude. I will say that if you get a chance to go next time, go. These guys are getting older, so they're not touring as much. When they do go out, it's almost like for like 2 weeks at a time. And
they're doing a fucking Australian tour, right?
With Slipknot.
Yes.
Oh man, they sent me a pre-sale code.
Yeah.
For me to go down under.
Let's go down under, Brandon.
Dude, I wish I could.
Not down on each other. Down under, meaning Australia.
I mean, what happens in the what happens in the sky stays in the sky.
Right.
I mean, that's a long flight.
Right.
But no, I would love to see Slipknot open for Metallica.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
Are we gonna go to the Slipknot Volbeat concert? Because
I really want to go to that. The only downside is Volbeat. I really hate Volbeat.
It can't be fucking worse than the Five Finger Death Punch concert that we went to. It can't be worse than that.
I don't know. I really enjoyed that concert.
The concert was fun, but the crowd was not fun.
Oh, I don't care. The crowd at a Slipknot concert is not gonna be that bad. And Volbeat, whatever. It's just Volbeat. I hate Volbeat.
Okay, well, I like Volbeat.
I genuinely hate Volbeat.
So
the music's cool. I hate his voice.
So before they actually had the band come out, they actually tried to get everybody in the crowd pumped up and singing, right? So they played some classic metal songs to have, and they put the lyrics up on the.
Oh, nice!
And they get 20,000 people singing it was Ozzy Osbourne.
Bark the Moon?
No. Maybe it was Black Sabbath. No, it was War Pigs. It was Black Sabbath.
Oh, yeah.
It was War Pigs. They got us singing Judas Priest.
Oh, fuck
Another
yeah.
Thing Coming. Got us singing Pantera, Walk.
Fuck yeah.
Got us singing like Run to the Hills. Yeah, it was pretty cool. I was funny. I was waiting in line, like to get into the place to get my ticket scanned, and they were playing music over the over the PA, and I heard a Megadeth song start playing, and everybody reacted.
Oh, ooh,
Yeah,
That's fucking blasphemy at a Metallica concert.
yeah, they were playing "Skin on My Teeth," and it was
oh,
like,
that's my favorite.
Joe's here.
Yeah, he says, "Quit hating on Volbeat." I like the music. The music for Volbeat's pretty badass, but it's just his vocals. I hate that.
I like that better than.
I don't know what you're talking about.
That's better than.
If I want to listen to yodeling, I'll listen to Jewel.
I'd
Got
fuck
the weight
Jewel.
power.
Jewel is the thrash metal of yodeling. Jewel is thrash yodeling.
I'd thrash her at yodel.
Dude, she still looks good.
Well, let's get back into the nostalgia a little bit. In the fucking late 90s, early 2000s, in good conscience, you can't tell me that you weren't like watching a Jewel music video. Like, God,
I didn't know who Jewel was
I'd
at the
fucking
time.
break my dick off in that.
I didn't know who
I
Jewel was
was
at the time.
every time.
Oh man, I remember I was in choir in middle school, and we had to sing a Jewel song.
Oh yeah.
Really?
I'm trying to remember which one it is. It was one of her more popular ones. These hands or my hands are small, I know, but they're not yours. I remember the teacher got so pissed off, pulling her hair out because we were saying not chores.
Not yours.
Because they're not chores. They're not chores. They're not yours. Enunciate, you little fuckers.
Come on, you fucks. We started in unison. There was about 4 of us today that sang Nelly Furtado.
Oh boy.
Just totally a cappella, impromptu, just out of nowhere, started singing some Nelly Furtado. You know, I just want to throw a random tidbit out. If I had a delicious sounding singing voice, you know what it would sound like? You know whose voice it would be?
Who?
Bjork's. If I could sing, I would want to sound like the male version of Bjork. Think about how fucking great that'd be. Think about how fucking metal Bjork's voice is. Not. But throw Bjork's voice in with some fucking metal behind it. I'd fuck with that.
Oh, man.
Oh boy. Just a boy.
I broke Blaine.
Show was good.
I'm glad, man. I'm glad
you got to
guys had
witness
a good
that.
time.
They were probably like the last band on my must see before I die or they die list. All the other bands that are out there that I haven't seen are ones that I would, I'm not saying I wouldn't see them, but as far as like must haves, I think they're done now. Because I got to see Black Sabbath, I got to see Iron Maiden, got to see Metallica. I'll never see Pantera. That's never gonna happen.
I'm that way with Alice in Chains. I can't. I can't. I just can't go see them now. I mean, it's not gonna mean. It's not gonna mean what it should mean to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't dislike the new stuff without
And I don't. Don't get me wrong. I don't either. It's just. I mean, to me, I'm not a Nirvana guy. I've gone on record on saying that. I've gone on record on this show saying that. But going to see Nirvana right now would just be like, man, well, why didn't I just go see the Foo Fighters?
Well, I mean,
Let's be honest.
Like, would Nirvana be fronted by Paul McCartney? Because he's done that. They've done like Nirvana with Paul McCartney.
Fuck
He's
Paul
like,
McCartney.
Interesting.
I don't think they're playing Nirvana songs. I think they're just. I think it's like, it's just they're doing some other shit.
Little
but-
supergroup style.
I'd say I have 2 bands that I can think of right now on my bucket list: Metallica and Mudvayne.
That's one that's gonna be interesting to see if that ever really happens.
If it ever happens again, because I've basically seen damn near every band that I've loved, and I've been very fortunate in that fact. Like even down to like little, like not so big bands, but little bands that I know that I fucking love, like Threat Signal, like Affiance, like my good friends in Across the Sun, like
There,
and Rest Repose, like little tiny bands.
you know, there were times that I would have done that for Megadeth. I think that time has kind of come and gone. If they're on a bill and I'm there,
I've seen them now.
yeah, you know, if they're on a bill and they're there, I will go see them. Like if we're at a thing where there's 2 stages and there's like this band or Megadeth, I'll probably go to Megadeth. But as far as like go check out Megadeth, I'm there and like I don't know.
Metallica is the only remaining Big Four band I need to see.
I haven't seen any of them other than Metallica now. But the other band like that on that list that would have been on that list that no longer is really is Dream Theater. Like at one point, I would have like loved to have seen them live.
That'd be cool.
And I'm not dogging on them, and I'm not saying that it's because Portnoy's gone, because I think Portnoy's a fucking dick. He's a great player, but he's a dick. And I'm not saying that I wouldn't enjoy the show. I'm just saying that like I'm not as into the band as I was at that like 10 years ago or whatever. You know, now like if they're like, hey, Dream Theater's coming to Lafayette, and I'd be like, what day is it? Like if they came to Lafayette, I would be like, how much? What day?
Yeah.
Did you guys hear about Aaron Lewis?
Yeah, he
Getting
walked
heckled.
off. This is the second or third time this has happened this tour, where he walked off his own stage because the crowd was being too loud.
Well, there was a couple guys, I guess, that just kept talking, and they were. I'm not sure if they were heckling, but he was trying to play a song, and he actually stopped it and asked them to stop. Like, you guys have been talking all fucking night. And then he's like, I don't have to be up here doing this. I can leave. And then I can't remember what song he was playing from Stained. He goes, you know what? It's fucking ironic because this song is literally me saying thank you to all of you, and I can't even sing it. So yeah, I'm gone. And he walked off stage.
That's sad because I've had the privilege, and that's how I'm going to stand by saying it that way. The privilege of seeing him live. I haven't had the privilege of seeing Stained live.
I have.
But I have seen his solo stuff.
I have too, actually.
And his solo set, because I don't think it's changed very much since the first time I saw him. But it was incredible. I mean,
He plays a lot of like of his own new original country stuff, some Stained stuff, and then also he does some really cool old country covers and stuff like that he pulls out of the hat.
I'd really like to see him live in his acoustic sets.
well,
He's so relaxed, he's so laid back. It's such a different vibe.
I paid $25 to see basically a Stained concert without it being a Stained concert.
Which you really should see. I mean, you won't be able to now.
Right.
But, I saw it was their last tour. They were still touring on their self-titled. The last album they did, obviously. And it was Uproar Festival, and holy shit, was it such a good time seeing Stained play all the songs that I fucking loved.
I saw them in 06 at Mayday. They headlined Mayday.
This was
that year.
2012.
This was 06. It was them and 3 Days Grace, back when they were still hitting it hot off their second album, I think it was.
Good album.
But
1X.
Yeah. And I think early Flyleaf was there.
Ooh.
Man, I would have loved to see fucking early Flyleaf.
Lacey Sturm's such a bitch, though.
Yeah, they're all bitches.
10 Years, is that the name of the band?
Ooh,
Yeah.
my friend Luke is drumming for them.
Oh, cool. But it was, this was Stained. They were touring off of Chapter 5. Is that the
Yeah,
album?
2005, 2006.
Yeah, so they were touring on that, so they played a lot from that. They, of course, played all their big hits. And I'll never fucking forget Aaron's guitar tech at the time used to be Dimebag Darrell's guitar tech.
Mm-hmm.
So he came on stage, strapped on the guitar, and they played a song in tribute to Dime.
Fuck yeah.
And they played This Love, where Aaron was just on vocals.
Oh yes, I've heard that cover.
It's good.
I've heard their cover of This Love, and I've heard their cover of Sober.
That's
Cool.
a good one.
You know what's funny? I saw
What's
a meme
funny?
today. Was like normal people after they first get exposed to Tool, and it was Donald Trump. It's like, I'm like a really smart person.
Yeah, I saw that. saw that.
So speaking of that, like, my bucket list concerts is really tough because Pearl Jam doesn't tour that much anymore. I've seen them once before, but I feel like that's not enough. I feel like whenever Pearl Jam announces their final tour, with as much controversy as they had in the 90s with Ticketmaster and all that bullshit, you know, it wouldn't feel right for me to not be a part of their final tour. And then Temple of the Dog was my number one bucket list, and we lost Chris Cornell, and
Yeah.
it wouldn't feel right just watching Eddie get up there and jam without Chris. So that's off the table. Metallica's obviously up there, and Tool. I mean, that's my bucket list.
If Metallica ever comes back around, I'm going to make it my goal to go back, and I'm going to make it my goal to try and get other people to go.
Fuck yeah.
Because for as
I about went to this one. But
for as old as they are, for them to still being able to play at the level that they're playing, I mean, some of these songs are fucking hard to play.
Right.
Even for like a young dude on guitar, learning these picking rhythms and some of these I have no doubt that they forget that shit, and then they have to sit there and go in the tuning room. Oh yeah, that one. You know.
Well, you gotta think too, the vocal strain.
You know,
for damn near 40 plus years of fucking
in his live singing voice.
Yeah.
I heard a couple times where he kind of squealed, where he was like, but I mean, the thing is, you're in a live setting, you're seeing one of your favorite bands live.
well, that's one of the reasons he went to he got vocal training during the Black Album or before the Black Album.
Well,
So-
because he blew his voice out.
yeah, because he so you'd think he'd have a much better control of it by this point.
Yeah, but I mean,
But I just mean age. I
there-
mean,
To an extent,
if you
yeah.
take any of the guitars that are in the corner of that room and don't ever change the strings and just strum the fuck out of them for 40 some years,
I mean, you're absolutely right.
they're gonna struggle a little bit. They're not gonna sound the same.
I have no doubt
unfortunately-
that he has a cool down period that he goes through afterwards, where he's like,
Yeah.
chill, don't talk to me for a while.
I mean, vocal cords or vocal folds, as they're referred to now, they're much different than guitar strings. And I get what you were trying to say, but they at least heal and replenish themselves,
The body can only heal one object so many times before it doesn't heal it anymore.
depending on how far you strain it.
He sounded pretty good for the most part. Well, the thing about a Metallica show is, and that's what was so cool about it, is that like he actively encourages the crowd to sing,
Fuck yeah.
and he tries to like some Master of Puppets. There's like the whole pre-chorus at one point we sang it, "Come crawling faster, obey your master." And he was gonna sing, and he just went, "Take it," and he was just like, "Come on." And then at one point, I don't remember what song it was now, but he stopped playing guitar and just picked up the mic, said, "All right, this one's on you, you do
Yeah.
it, like you guys do it." He wants that.
That's awesome.
Number one, it's probably less work for him, less work on his voice. But then again, it's like you have 20,000 people who love your music this much to yell and scream it back at you.
Mm-hmm.
That's got to be like an adrenaline thing that I can't even describe.
Well, just think about not even the adrenaline, but think about how, as an artist, what kind of a feel-good moment that would be. Like, I have, you brought up the oldest person in the crowd and the youngest person in the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
I have touched people's lives. We have touched people's lives for over 40 years. And this guy's 80. And he is taking what time he has on Earth to spend it with us. And this little boy is 6. He's got the rest of his life to enjoy what we've created, and I just think that's fucking badass.
James interacted with another kid that was 11. He's like, "How old are you?" Like 11. He's like, and then he was just kind of talking to him and just kind of being really cool and like you're 11 and you're at the front row at your first Metallica concert.
Fuck yes.
Yeah, James is really cool. Everybody sounded great. I would encourage everybody to go if you have never seen them live to go do it. Of course, they have countless DVDs, countless of live albums.
Yeah.
It doesn't capture the magic when you're in the moment. And it's funny because it didn't really fucking hit me. I was watching, it was great, it was interacting, doing all this stuff, and it didn't fucking hit me here in the heart for this being the first band that I ever got into on this level. They introduced me to a whole slew of new, different subgenres of the metal genre. it wasn't until like the middle of Master of Puppets where they do the little breakdown that it fucking like that I got emotional about it, and I'm like, motherfucker, I can die.
That goes back to what you were saying. It's a religious experience.
Yeah.
Like Metallica, I mean, they're not just a band at this point. They're not. It is a religious experience.
Well,
like they
it's funny.
are essentially the gods of metal at this point.
Well, and it's funny because like at their live show, they make it a point to hammer into everybody. It's like, you are all here. It's like, we do not care what you eat. We don't care who you voted for. We don't care what you have in between your legs. We're all united by the love of music, and we are all family.
Yeah.
You know,
You can't. I mean, from an artist, you can't ask for any more than that. You just can't. For like, people can say whatever they want about the genre of music that we like. You can't talk bad about Metallica because they are the gold standard of what an artist should be. They have had a lot of ups. They have had maybe more downs than they've had ups as far as a group and as far as group to fan base and all that. And they're still here. They're still providing nothing but quality music, and they fully embrace their fan base, and they're very humble and understand that we have to be a family, otherwise we can't have shit like that anymore.
well, and it's funny because I remember you said just a few minutes ago about how like you've been anti-merch for the last few years. There are so many different artists and so many different musicians that are coming out now, and they're like, yeah, dude, Lars was right back in the early 2000s about this whole music thing changing now. Like, he took the brunt. He was the one that was like on the news with the big list of the usernames, everybody that stole their music. You know, he took the brunt of it all. Even though you had Madonna, Dr. Dre, other people who were like, yes, this motherfucker, we're with him. But they weren't the ones that were getting interviewed or going in front of Congress or anything. It was Lars Ulrich. And granted, he had nothing better to do at the time because the band was in shambles. But he's like, we need to protect ourselves and our business because it's going to change. And that is one reason why merch is being so important, even with a band like Metallica, because like they now own themselves. They were lucky enough to have made enough money in their career to be able to buy their stuff back.
Right.
That is millions of dollars.
And you've got bands like Creedence Clearwater Revival that for the rest of time will never own any of their shit ever again.
That was one thing with Def Leppard. Def Leppard doesn't own a lot of their masters. That's why they were re-recording them. You know, I've said the same thing with Iced Earth, and then he's like, I want to re-record some of this stuff because I want to actually own it. Because I will never be able to afford Sony Entertainment's not just going to give me my music back. They're not going to. They're in this to make what little money they can off of my music, and that's the price that you pay when you sign a music deal to get published and put out there. But the merch is the touring and the merch is what's putting money in these artists' pocket, because they're going to make a cut and some money off the album, depending on how big that all varies, right? But it's the merch that the merch has been rising, but so has the cost of them being on the road. When I bought this shirt was $45. That's a bit steep for me. I don't like to spend that much money on shirts. But I was not leaving that place without a shirt. And when I saw the stage production that they put on and how intricate it is, I'm like, I can see why. Because they're paying all of these people to go on the road with them. They're paying people to rub them down before and after shows. They're paying people to get their clothes ready, to get them, make sure that they are dressed at a certain like. This isn't just a band on tour. They have to have an itinerary to keep people to have people hired to keep them on track, to make sure like they are micromanaged to a T, because they have to be. Because how easy would it be to be lost and get lost? Oh crap! I need to go do this. So they have all these people on hand. And they're a much bigger production, but when it goes down to even smaller bands, for those that aren't making the squillions of dollars that maybe Metallica makes, or that should I say that they are recouping from buying their own shit, and then also the failure of their film. They spent like $30 million on that film, and so they're trying to make up for that, obviously.
And definitely let me backtrack a little bit and rephrase my anti-merch statement. Perfect example, when we went to the Breaking Benjamin concert this past summer, there was a flannel that I pointed out to Blaine. A flannel shirt with their logo on it. It was $85. Okay?
Yeah.
That's unnecessary. Now, will I buy a T-shirt? Absolutely. I just don't want to wait in line for 2 hours to buy a T-shirt.
I got pretty lucky.
You know, that's my anti-merch.
I got pretty lucky. I got in the merch line at 6:20 and got to my seat probably around 7:10.
So you were in line about 40 minutes, give or
That
take.
with the mixture of like I had to actually walk to my seat and find it, and that was a bit of a trek because of how big the place is.
Right.
But all in all, it wasn't too bad. They had, some of the merch stuff, like there was like a hoodie. There was like $85, $90 if you go higher to the 2X.
I'll pay $90 for a sweatshirt all day. But a flannel shirt, come on now.
Yeah, $85 is ridiculous.
They did have at every city they go to, Metallica has custom artwork for the city.
Ooh, I didn't know that.
So I don't remember what all the ones they had for Indy. I remember the one that was kind of a mock-up of like the Pacers logo, where it had like the yellow circle with the Metallica star emblem or whatever. And so they do that for every city they go to now.
Wow.
So that's kind of cool. They every event has its own poster with artwork. I don't know who they commissioned to do it all, but you can buy the poster for like $45.
That's cool.
It's like a pretty high quality. It's not a huge poster, but it's a pretty high quality little poster. And then they actually, if you scan your ticket on MetallicaLive.com, you get a free download of the show that you went to.
Oh, that's cool.
So
That's badass.
that'll be really neat to go back and re-listen to it to see if they cut any of the interaction out with the crowd.
Yeah.
If it's just the music straight up, because they didn't always go right into the next song. You know, there was a few little hijinks kind of going on, but my wife sent me the grocery list.
Oh boy. I wonder if Joe's still watching.
Yeah. Okay, so I thought she was asking for donuts, but she wrote "do not," but it came out donut.
Donut now.
Donut. I don't know, man.
I don't know. Joe tends to like pop in.
He lurks. He's a lurker.
He lurks here and there. It's not every time.
He lurks here. He lurks there. Joe lurks everywhere.
I think he's only lurking this time because Brandon's here.
Probably.
Maybe. I don't know. But
Disc
Joe-
Replay has vinyl.
Joe, if you're here, comment.
Not a lot, but they have some vinyl now.
Cool.
Their whole new stock. It's like a whole new store, dude. They have like those like decorative tin stuff they have at like Hobby Lobby and shit. It was pretty cool.
Did you happen to see my like theory on what happened there?
I did, and it's not true.
No.
No.
Okay.
No.
Well, that makes me happy then.
No, it
Makes me happy because
the owner was in there when I was in there, and they were all like talking and like being relieved, and they actually took a whole like group picture for everybody who was still there.
Yeah. For those listening, like my theory on Disc Replay, they were closing. They said they couldn't come to an agreement with the owner. They were the landlord, and they were raising prices on them, and so it's miraculous. So they decided to liquidate their entire stock. And my theory was, they had a bunch of useless shit that they couldn't sell in there, so they were just liquidating their stock, fire sale style. And then suddenly they're fine again.
It doesn't make any sense to do that because the dude has another store. He owns another store.
Okay.
That's why they're able to get so much stock back, because the other store, I'm not sure where the other store is. I assume it's a much bigger city because like they were able to kind of restock the store fast.
Didn't you say there was one up north?
Well, I'm not sure if it's the same owner. The one up near Nate's in Highland, and then that's a really cool store to go to. They've got a lot of toy collectibles and whatnot.
Insert Joe's laugh, aka the rumble strip.
But I mean, I went in on Saturday after work, and to just look around. It's funny because Like, even though they have so much, I went in there purposely because they were showing pictures of stuff that they were going to be getting, like, so like pop vinyls, and there was an Edward and Einstein pop from Cowboy Bebop.
Cool.
Einstein's a very popular character in our household. Both me and my wife love that little corgi. So she has like a little pop, random pop stuff like what Blaine has, where it's like Bob Ross and then like Toothless and Oogie Boogie, and now Ed and Ein from Cowboy Bebop. So I went in there just
Boogie
for that.
Boogie.
But they had some vinyl and had some old school vinyl, some Judas Priest. They had a Rush record in there. The Judas Priest stuff. There was one British Steel was in there, and it was used. It was old. It was like $15 though, and it's just like, I can get a brand new pressing of that for about the same price.
Calvin goes Toothless.
The one thing in there that I found on vinyl that I was like, and I'm like was angry at myself because I'm in a zero spending, cannot spend money on myself. This whole concert was pre-planned.
Preach it, my man. Preach it.
Angry again.
Angry. Anyway. So I found a Blind Guardian record.
Ooh. What? Holy shit.
And I'm like, and it's a colored one. It's used. And it's got like I looked it up on the app, and it's selling for $30. And I'm just like, and it's like it's a record from like the early '90s. It was like some like the Lord of the Rings stuff is on there. Not Bard Song. It didn't have Bard Song. That was the album before that. Trust me. I was like sitting there because I had the pop, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna look around for some other stuff, something else to buy other than one pop, right? Because if you go in there, I'm not sure how long they're doing it. If you go in there and then you check in on Facebook and try to spread the word that they're still around and that they're going to be staying around, they'll give you 15% off.
Fuck yeah.
Sweet.
So then then I paid like face dollar pretty much for the pop. So I paid like $9 for it, But I was looking around for some other stuff, and me being where I'm at collecting wise, the few things I'm actually on the hunt for, they don't have.
Did you find Joe in there?
No, but I did tell him. I told him about the vinyl though.
Okay.
A lot of the vinyl in there is kind of old stuff you don't ever want to buy.
He would.
You want more shit like the Independence Day soundtrack? Don't you have that?
No, I have Top Gun.
Top Gun. That's
I
what
have
it
Top
was.
Gun.
And you get the Speed soundtrack for Nick.
There you go. That's
That's the next
year's.
step.
On what platform?
On vinyl.
Vinyl.
Well,
okay.
why
because
stop there?
We also need to find the movie on video CD, which is a format native to Japan. I actually have The Matrix
I
on
wonder
video.
if they have HD DVD.
I don't know if that movie ever came out on that format.
Ooh.
Yeah, we got to find it. But they have a lot of Arch Enemy vinyl in there.
Interesting.
So I thought that was kind of cool. But it was just a matter of like, oh, cool, let me look at this. And they have a ton of pops. They have way more pops than what they had before.
Okay.
They have the entire like Avengers series like in gold.
That's
wow.
That's dangerous. Don't tell me that.
But like
Nate got me a Venomized Hulk,
oh,
Oh,
that's-
nice.
and he has reignited my pop addiction.
I looked and they had one Mass Effect Andromeda one, and I asked if they had any more because I'm on the hunt for Garrus. Because even if I don't get the other two, I gotta have my homeboy Garrus. And he's like, no, we don't have them. But it's really cool. I'm very happy the store's sticking around because this means that the other place that is very, very bad to go, she's probably going to go out of business.
Good. I heard she tried to buy the place.
Well, the rumor was that she was going to move into that same place because she can't pay the bills at where she's at, apparently. Now, this is all hearsay from Tim. Tim is the guy at work. He works at BBC. He's our hookup with news on her because he goes in there all the time to talk to her and all that.
He learned Station 16 today
Did he?
against his will. Because they didn't send us Todd, so they sent somebody else to do Quality Gate, and then we were left like, what the fuck? And so I was like, all right, Sam, you're gonna learn 16 left. Anyway,
Makes me feel important.
we're starting to run a little long here.
Yeah, we are.
You're a little long.
We're hitting it.
We are now at the 8 o'clock.
Before we head out, should we do it, Brandon?
Yeah.
The triggering.
Yeah. I think we will.
It's been a while. We've been feeling pretty good most of the episode. It's been a while since Tyler was triggered.
No, look at him. He's scared now.
I
He
think
goes,
you're legit gonna.
I
be
should have
triggered.
waited.
I was triggered
At
2
Butterfinger.
hours ago, basically.
I should have waited to give him the butterfinger.
Oh Lord.
I think you're legit gonna be triggered.
Tell me.
Lay it down, Brandon.
Well, see, here's the thing: is that
Well,
like,
you see here.
well, he's like, I was told the story, so like,
I was too.
I was just like, so has a certain somebody that he used to live with ever asked you for advice
Yes.
on a certain aspect of training, like
Raising.
maybe a pet?
Oh, absolutely.
So, someone went on an adventure recently, and we all wondered, where did the pet go?
Oh no.
Well, I was like, he probably just left it at his mom's, and then other people were like, nah, he probably left it at home. Turns out, so take the lead, Brandon.
Why?
Why? Because I'm trying to come up with the words
The words?
to vaguely describe this.
Well, I mean, it's essentially, we know that Rocky has some problems, right?
Right.
Using the potty, right?
Yeah.
And there was somebody at work,
Yeah.
somebody at work who talked to them and basically said that you know nothing about potty training a dog, that you didn't know what you're talking about.
Okay.
This is what this person said to another person, the person that asked you for help.
So what happened was this. So he was discussing with her what was to happen, and basically said, "Yeah, I'm just gonna leave him in his cage, and then my nephew is going to stop by once or twice a day, feed him and let him out and all that." Then she basically convinced him to not. That was stupid. He shouldn't be in a cage all day, and
The she, I'm a fan of her.
you're a fan.
Okay.
We're all a fan.
She has ovaries. She's got a set of ovaries on her.
Yes. Okay.
Like,
No,
I'm-
we're all a fan because she's a genuinely great person.
she don't take no shit.
No, and so she basically said, "No, that's you shouldn't do that." And so he conceded and said, "Okay, you'll have free reign of the house." Either way, still being left alone and only being visited once or twice a day. Like what? So then she basically said, "Hey." She brought up the idea of, hey, you really probably should get rid of him. You should probably give him to someone who can give the dog the attention that it needs. And, he said basically that, Tyler tried to tell me how to raise him once, and I just don't think he knows what he's talking about.
Well, I'm not going to give him the satisfaction of getting Hulk rage, but I will say this, as a person who has bred dogs, who has raised animals of all shapes and sizes, I've had pets that know how to brush their teeth better than you, and when you learn, and this is me saying this as polite as I possibly can, when your dog goes 24 hours without shitting in your house, then you can talk to me about whether or not I know what I'm talking about. So I'm looking at you, Floppy Debit, Snaggletooth, Ear Dorito, Captain Joe. Thank you.
Yeah. It's extremely frustrating.
I knew it would set you off because I know that you do not like to have your integrity
Oh,
questioned.
absolutely.
Well, okay, so I've given a lot of people advice, and I have a tendency to dad people.
You do.
And it's not something that I'm trying to do to belittle people or impose my will on people. I genuinely want people to succeed. I've had to fight for every scrap of everything that I have in my life. And I have done that totally 100% by my fucking self. Okay? There has been countless times in my life where I'm like, man, I could really use fucking help. Teach me something. But I've always had to do it by myself. And when I see people in need, here's my take on it.
You're that help that you so desperately want.
Here's my take, and I might force it on some people, and that's fine. People can call that out. But if you don't want the advice, tell me up front. If you don't like what I'm saying, tell me up front. Because I'm giving you my take, like when we were talking about the beer, when you flick the can. I'm not a fucking physicist. I'm not a veterinarian. I'm not fucking an
explorer.
I'm not an explorer. Like fuck, I'm a pioneer.
I'm kind of a retard.
Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Like,
You don't got to drag somebody's name through the mud just
Yeah.
because you didn't like what they were saying. Just because you didn't accept their advice and now you're paying for it.
I don't know. I can feel it. Is my face the same color as my sweatshirt?
It's getting there.
Yeah,
it's getting there.
So that's me progressively getting more mad as I talk. I just don't get it. You have someone who, and it's not even me talking about this situation right now. It's just us as people.
I get you.
We as a species have a tendency when someone does something nice for us, we don't appreciate it, and then we shit on them just for doing something nice.
No, you got to look at the source material here.
No, I get it. I don't know. I'm not even mad. I'm just disappointed.
But you shouldn't be surprised.
But I'm not surprised. That motherfucker's been talking shit about me since I started there. It's just, it's fine. Here at Globo Gym, we're better than you, and we know it. So, yeah, it is what it is.
When I came over to A-Line, I started, and I was from B-Line. So I would, just to poke fun at my former B-Line teammates, like such as Jennifer, I would be like, here on A-Line, we're better than you, and we know it.
Oh, yeah, you said it while I was there.
Hell yeah.
I just don't get it.
No, none of us do. None of us do. Like, we all have at some point tried to help said person, who we've already said their name, but who cares? We've all tried to help him in one way or another, no matter what the advice is for, and he just, and then he'll like go behind your back and just be like, yeah, he was trying to tell me how to live my life or how to do this, but I just don't think he's right. It's like, well, why don't you just say, hey, like...
Well, it starts off with him complaining.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
About whatever. And then it just gets to a point where, like, you kind of get tired of hearing the complaint. So then, or you're actually actively trying to, like, lend a hand.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, how about this? You know, I've encountered something like this. Try this. And, like, a lot of times it's either met with resistance, with what you were just saying, Blaine.
Well, he immediately goes on the defensive for everything.
Or he will just say
whatever you want to hear to get you to stop.
Yeah. And it's just like I grow weary and tiresome of hearing people complain to hear themselves complain.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
and rehearsed.
Mm-hmm.
When you tell us different people the same story, you know, 4 times a day, 5 times a day. The thing is that, like, I try to do my very best not to bitch about anything. Unless it's something that is a story. Here's something funny. Here's something you might find amusing.
You typically have genuine conversation. If you are griping about something, it's coming from somewhere.
Well, and it's like something that we can have a conversation about.
Yeah.
Not necessarily like I have a problem, and then you say something and me be like,
I stubbed
well,
my toe
that.
this morning and ripped half my foot off.
And so, like, I try to do my very best not to do that because I don't want to come off as like being bitchy. Just to be bitchy.
Or being needy.
Or there's that, you know, like...
Pity me.
Dude, I am such a enclosed individual. Like, when I'm at home, there's the desire, oh, yeah, that'd be cool if I saw somebody or did this. And then I'm like, I'm at home. I'm in my safe space. Like we were supposed to have company yesterday, right? We were supposed to have 2 friends come over, and 2 friends that really don't come over very often. And like leading up to it, I was pretty excited to hang out with these people. I was smoked pulled pork and all that stuff. Not that we weren't gonna do that anyway. He goes, hey, come on over. There's gonna be plenty of food, And then something went down, and we were like, well, okay, we may or may not come, and if we do, it won't be both of us. We kind of had a bad day, and then at that point, I'm like, just reschedule. At that point, and she's like, my wife is like, oh, okay, why? I'm like, because I don't want to talk to anybody anymore.
I feel you there,
Yeah.
my man.
As soon as I had that moment, it's like I'm not like in any way. I'm not angry at them whatsoever for them having a bad day and pulling out of plans. If anything, it made it to where that at that point is it was like I don't want the what if scenario of somebody's coming over. I want to sit here and cuddle and be just like snuggled up in my blanket on my chair, going, I just want to chill and not interact with any other person right now. So
That reminds me of last week. So last week for Podcastrophe, I did a solo cast.
yeah,
It was originally supposed to be myself, Matt, and another guest. Matt, out of nowhere, was like, hey, I can't make it because of this legit reason. Yeah. So I was like, okay, I don't have the mental capacity to handle one-on-one right now. So I immediately hit up Tyler. I was like, can you? I know we agreed that every other week, you one with Matt, one with Tyler, one with Matt, one with Tyler, and if come together, cool. But he's like, nah, dude, I can't. I was like, okay, cool. At no point was I ever mad at anybody, or disappointed or held anything against anybody. Like I was just like, well, fuck it. Like I'm really tired. I don't have the mental capacity to handle a one-on-one conversation. I need other people to feed off of. I mean, you both know that I have a hard time with one-on-ones a lot of the time.
yeah.
Even if it's just hanging out with somebody.
Right.
So, which is totally the opposite of how it used to be, because I used to be, like back in high school and early college days, I used to only want one-on-one because people act differently around different people.
Right.
And like Matt, I will say this about Matt right now. He was one of those people that if I was one-on-one with him, he'd be a completely different person. But as soon as other people came in, all of a sudden it's let's make fun of Blaine time. And that accounted for any of those people that he would be hanging out with. Like if I was one-on-one, totally cool. As soon as
I like the hang loose that you just threw out there.
Oh yeah. I mean, and it never bothered me. It never bothered me to the point where I had to say something and be like, guys, fuck off. It was just like, okay, cool. I just prefer like this. If we're all hanging out in a group, we'll have a good time, whatever, make fun of me. But if I want personal connection, it's one-on-one, and I crave the personal connection a lot more.
Like last week, Tyler was on our show over on Game Addicts Podcast.
Which I really enjoyed, by the way.
Thank you. Mike was supposed to be there. Mike's been dealing with a lot of crap going on with his health.
Yeah.
Here recently, and it's been getting worse before it's going to get better. And he felt fucking terrible about pulling out. And I'm like, there's nothing in this world that is more important. Like what we are doing, we're having fun. We're producing content. We should never overextend ourselves to just produce content for the sake of that, because that's when you encounter this is not genuine.
Right.
I told him straight up, do not worry about this. Do not feel bad. Do not have any sort of, you just fucking chill out.
Well, and then, Mike messaged me and apologized, and I was like, don't ever fucking apologize to me for taking care of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. We as a society don't ever fucking do that today.
Mm-hmm. There was no way that having Tyler on the show was I not going to have a good time or a good conversation.
Right.
That went above and beyond. That was one of my more fun episodes, because I had loosely planned it, but we just let it flow. And with Mike kind of going through what he's been going through, for his interaction, sometimes he like has problems with staying focused. So he needs to have everything kind of written out verbatim, right? This is what we're talking about. This is what we're talking about.
I can see that.
I got to have this up. I got to have this up because he's struggling at the moment with all this pressure, like on his brain, for when you're talking to him. He's looking at you and he's listening, and all of a sudden, he just kind of like zones out for a second. So that it's almost like a stopgap. He's actually lost moments of time that way, like chunks of time, where he zones out for like 5 minutes and doesn't realize he lost 5 minutes.
Wow.
It's getting pretty bad. And he feels so bad. I'm like, do not whatsoever feel bad. I'm like, what we are doing is not that important.
In the grand scheme of things, no, absolutely not.
Absolutely not. We're having fun.
You're having fun, you know. You got to take care of yourself first. And I've mentioned that to Tyler and Matt on several occasions. These types of things operate when we are at our best.
Absolutely.
And if you are not at your best, you shouldn't be doing it.
Our
Because
audiences don't want to hear that.
No, absolutely not. You need to be at the top of your game for yourself in order to be at the top of the game for these guys.
Well, and the thing
listening, watching.
Yeah. Whether or not you change your release schedule, like we have done, and we've done it multiple times. When we're on point, we're going and we're trucking every week. If we need to pull it back, we have the freedom. Because I know those people that listen to my show are going to continue to do so when we release it. You know, whether or not we feel bad that we missed a week or did something like that, guess what? That happens. That's life. They're going to catch me on the next one. You know,
Podcastrophe, we have several different safety nets. 3 co-hosts, they can do a show together. Him and I can do a show. Matt and I can do a show together. We have backlog that we can just throw up there. None of us can do it.
I'm really liking your little Facebook interactions too.
Thank you.
Yes, those are nice.
You go live and it's just like, especially for when like those periods of times where maybe you might be absent from the actual main show. I like that.
Thank you.
I started doing stuff like that until I kind of hit my my emotional road bump. I started doing something called Game Addicts Plus, where I was like on a Sunday morning or Sunday afternoon, if I was going to be doing something or streaming anyway, just get on there and pick a couple news topics that we may have talked about, or maybe will or maybe won't, and just use that as a more interactive, you know, because it was originally that was before we started streaming on Facebook for the main show, but it was only going to be on Facebook, more interactive with people, because it's harder for our show, like when Blaine was commenting. He was commenting and other people were commenting while we were having such a good dialogue.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't want to interrupt that just to...
I was just being an ass.
I know you were.
You know how I do.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I think I'm going to start doing that kind of on a weekly,
I'd like that a lot.
on a weekly basis. The first time that I did that, I was like, you know what? One of my favorite parts of Family Guy is when Peter's on the news and he does...
What really grinds my gears.
You know what really grinds my gears?
Yeah.
That's what I thought of, too.
That's one of my favorite parts of Family Guy. And I was like, man, you know, you brought it up about me earlier in the show. Like, when I am bothered by something, it is worthy of being of bothering me. Because, I mean, especially now, like I've already cooled down about the whole Joe thing. If Joe wants to abuse his dog, that's his business. It doesn't affect me. But I have said it from the beginning, that dog does not deserve to be abused. It's an innocent animal. It's an animal.
Yeah.
So, Joe, if you want to keep abusing your dog, that's fine. May or may not make it so you don't have that dog anymore. Keep testing me. But it's none of my business. I don't need to get fucking worked up about it. But people shitting on Captain Marvel before it's even in the theater, that's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
What if people would have done that for DBZ Broly? Or for, you know, Dragon Ball Super Broly? I would have been equally as pissed off, and that movie probably wouldn't have been able to survive it.
No.
At least in North America.
No.
You know
It's just dumb. It's dumb. It's fucking dumb.
No, I know. I completely agree with you. And there was one day at work where I was like thinking of these things that just really annoy me, and Arby's really annoys me.
Arby's?
Arby's.
What part of Arby's?
A lot of it.
Like the cool like stuff that they do on a weekly basis, where they do cool anime stuff.
The pop culture stuff. Them and Wendy's are like.
Oh yeah.
Like
Wendy's Twitter is fucking lit.
They've got
fam.
that shit figured out. But no, Arby's. Number one, it's more expensive, and
Yes.
I can dig it because their food is normally pretty damn good. when you order when I go there, I like to try something brand new that they just came out with it to see what it's like, and it's always usually pretty top notch. The things that piss me off about it are they're charging you more, and yet their fry container, it's like you're buying a bag of Lay's, because these curly fries are so dense and so big, they block the sides of it to prevent more fries falling to the bottom. So therefore, when you get these, and you can look down in it, and you can see the space. There's like that much air not being filled with any sort of fries.
Somebody else finally gets it.
And I'm just like, these motherfuckers are cheating me. And then I'm like, and you want some Arby's sauce? Yeah, load me up some Arby's sauce. They give me two. I said load me up, motherfucker.
They did load you up. You were only going to get one of the little cups. We'll give you a nickel of Arby's sauce.
I want to reiterate that there was a news story. There was a news story that went around where a guy got frozen in his car and survived off of Taco Bell packets. They gave him enough packets to survive a nuclear winter. Damn it!
You know, a while ago we were in the Taco Bell drive-through line, and Miranda and she was drunk.
Okay.
She's like, I want a lot of mild sauce. So I told the dude, I was like, we want a lot of mild sauce. He's like, all right, bro. And I literally watched him pick up basically the whole little tub of it, like scooped it up with as much as he could fit in his hands. And
with his meat hooks.
Just dumped it in the bag.
You know what he is?
We still have a bunch of them.
You know what that guy? That guy is a prime stoner. Okay?
He gets it.
Those guys, yeah, he does. And that's why they work at Taco Bell. Because they get it. Because they're hoping, maybe, just maybe, they'll be able to swipe some more Taco Bell for themselves for when they have the munchies later.
Right.
And Arby's is too high class. They don't hire those weed abusers like that. You know,
devil's lettuce, my man.
Dude, like you pull into Arby's and the dude's wearing like a sweater. And you're like,
that reefer madness.
And I'm just like, dude, like Arby's just, it's almost like every single time where the wife is like, do you want Arby's? I say no out of principle at this point because I'm tired of getting ripped off.
Now the only way I'm going to challenge you on Arby's is when they have the 2 for €6. Their fucking euros are pretty good.
They are really
and I only have to wait like 3 minutes for them. So
now,
that's the only time I'll challenge you. Everything else, you're fucking spot on.
So like you get the coupons, right? You get the coupons.
Got to get the coupons.
Because I mean it makes it a little bit more affordable for us plebes. But
I used to do the coupons for Arby's. Matt and I did. We had Arby's Wednesday.
They got good. They have real good fucking mozzarella sticks.
We ended up going and getting like a bunch of like just roast beef sandwiches, right? No beef and cheddar, just roast beef. She wants beef and cheddar. For me, I love the beef and cheddar, but if I want to just roast beef sandwiches, I'll fucking
run up to Meijer real quick. I'll grab you a pack of cheddar. We'll make it at home.
Exactly.
We'll get the roast beef. We'll microwave the cheddar.
I have an entire photo album dedicated to Arby's Wednesday.
Wow, you would.
Let's view this real quick.
Is that fucking Matt?
Yeah, that's Matt.
Oh God, kill it with fire.
that is Matt.
Matt, what's wrong with you?
That's me.
Yeah, you look awful with fucking goggles
Wearing
on.
Goggles?
Yep.
How old were you?
Those were my chemistry. This was junior year.
What is
of high
wrong
school.
with you?
A lot at this
You
point.
have Down syndrome?
One time, Arby's gave us like 7 extra sandwiches.
That was basically Arby's back pay.
Right.
You know, we've overcharged you for this bar ass fucking this budding beef for 9 years. Here's your 7 extra sandwiches. We're square now.
There's some like extra pictures.
Oh my gosh, look at that. That was your hair.
That was my hair, in fact.
Jesus Christ.
All right, are we ready to wrap it up?
I think we're close to being at the end there, Bill.
All right, Branden, plug away.
Hey guys, well thank you guys so much for having me back here on the great show that is Podcastrophe. I love hanging out with you guys. I love making you guys run late every single time that I'm on. But of course you can check me out over at the Game Addicts Podcast. We are also live on our Facebook page at facebook.com/GameAddictsPlay. We're live every other Wednesday. We're also on Twitch at the same username. We're also on podcast services around the world. You name it, we're on it. If we're not, let me know. I'll make it so. And, of course, if you missed the live stream on Facebook or Twitch, it gets uploaded to YouTube on Friday, so you can also see our beautiful faces.
You should sell propane and propane accessories.
Well,
You've got that fucking thing down. It even rhymes.
Sometimes it comes out more fluid than others. It all just depends.
I want to buy your podcast.
Well, good.
You just sold it to me. All right, let's hear you do it, Blake.
All right, as always, you can check us out live every Tuesday, roughly around 5:30 or 6 on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. And we'll also live stream any extra content we do if we so decide. Otherwise, you can check us out on Podcastrophe Pod at podbean.com. You can check us out on iTunes and Spotify.
Working on Stitcher
and Google Play. As our little image says, we have Google Play, but we don't. And if you haven't already, if you're on our feed and haven't, check out the Journey into Comics Network. I'm not going to plug all the shows. That's at the beginning of this episode. So you get a ton of shows with content by the likes of You'll Probably Find Something. So check out the Journey into Comics Network. They host us.
Are you going to plug this Friday show here on the feed?
Maybe I will.
Well, you might as well.
This Friday, if you're listening, it'll be tomorrow. We are doing basically a prequel episode of Game of King Chair, where we dive into the recent Game of Thrones final season trailer drop. So be sure to tune in and check that out. I don't know exactly who all is going to be on, but we're going to dive into it. We're going to talk about the Game of Thrones trailer and get you hyped for the new season as if you weren't already. So check that out. Also check out the Fun for Funds show coming up March 23rd. It's in 2 weeks. It's $10. You get live podcasts for a few hours, and then you get live music. There's also live comedy. You're helping us raise funds for our network, and you're helping raise hype for LaFiCon and our network. So just come check it out, have a good time. The live music includes bands such as my own, Band Number One. You got
which is killer.
Let's
interject that in there. Band Number One fucking rocks.
And no, Jennifer, my plugs are not as smooth as Branden.
Better than if I were to do it.
There's a lot of cool stuff coming to this feed as well. As you said, Game of King Chair is going to be a whole new podcast dedicated to Game of Thrones for this season.
Just for 6 episodes.
There's
it's a mini series.
New metal show that you have with Nick Maxon.
Yep,
here.
happy fun metal time.
And there's going to be more stuff coming in the very, very near future that we will be getting to very shortly.
Oh yeah, looking forward to that. Definitely. But if that is all, thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. And thank you, Branden, for joining
thanks for hanging out with us.
Hey, no problem,
for this
guys.
Awesome episode 80, The Talons of Freedom. And thank you, Tyler.
Thank you
for coming back.
I've got one more thing to say.
Say it.
Fuck off, Joe Grimes.
All right. Sending all of our big dick energy your way. Please make every day a big dick day. Bye, guys.
Later.
Woke up this morning with my dick in my hand. Girlie's to the right of me, just like I planned. It's gonna be a big dick day. 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 Big